lifetime warranty. We stand behind the same quality we've offered since 1929. Our rings are crafted to last. It's why our warranty is the only one that protects your center stone. We also cover repairs, resizings, cleanings, and so much more. That's money you keep for you and your family. Because a friend always has your back. Shane Company, your friend and jeweler.
This is Kevin and Kim at Reinhardt Heating and Cooling. This holiday season, your home comfort is our business. We are here to keep your family warm and comfortable, just like we have for 40 years.
We appreciate your business throughout the year, and we are always here if you need us. From our entire Reinhardt Heating and Cooling family, we wish you a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year.
Keeping you warm in Danville, Avon, Heritage Lake, and all of Hendricks County, Reinhardt Heating and Cooling is your trusted local independent American Standard heating and air conditioning dealer.
This Christmas, get a bonus AI Essentials course when you enroll in any My Computer Career IT program by the end of the year. That's a $3,900 value. Attend classes online or on campus. Enjoy lifetime job placement support and IT certifications in high demand. Go to mycomputercareer.edu today and take the free career evaluation. That's mycomputercareer.edu, an elite CompTIA certification partner. Conditions apply to AI offer and financial aid is available to those who qualify, including the GI Bill.
From the DriveHubler.com studios, this is 93.5 and 107.5, The Fan.
WIBC HD2, W298BB, WIBC HD3, W228CX, Indianapolis.
Big hole for Jonathan Taylor. There he goes again. 50, 40, down the far sideline. He might do it again. 10, 5, touchdown. INDY.
The Eastern Conference Championship has been captured by the Indiana Pacers.
Alex Pillow wins the 109th Indianapolis 500.
This is the Fan Morning Show with KB, JB, and Jeff.
Good morning, everyone. Happy Friday. Thank you all for tuning in. And we are back in studio. At least I am. I showed up for work. I don't know about Kevin Bowen and Jeff Fricker. We have Greg Rakestraw filling in. Greg, how you doing?
So apparently I'm filling in for like at least 2 or 3 people because I hear KB, no. JB, yes. Jeff, no. The Diggity Dykton, no. Caleb Zuber is in for him. So
shout out Caleb on the ones
between
and twos.
Caleb and myself, we've lost a lot of hair on the program so far this morning. But I have been known to fill a variety of roles. So apparently I'm filling in for 2 people. And maybe from a weight ratio, it's the same amount of poundage on the show that we would normally have.
Oh, no.
Especially after Christmas dinner.
I can't go that far, but yeah.
I can. That lasagna was really good last night.
I tell you what, I definitely enjoyed the family meal on Christmas Day. Happy belated Merry Christmas to everybody out there listening. And I guess we'll dive right into it, Rake. I know, at least for me in my world, I'm torn between Colts fans wanting the team to win as a Christmas gift or wanting to lose out and blow this whole thing up. So the last time we checked in with you all, we were getting ready for practice, and really there hasn't been much of a development or change other than the fact that Shane Steichen, again, has committed to Phillip Rivers being the starter for this team, regardless of what happens come Sunday, or come Saturday, actually.
Right, and I understand that. First of all, it is a short week. Secondarily, now you throw in Christmas, where the guys did not practice yesterday. So the players had a walkthrough Wednesday. We'll have a practice, or as much of a, air quotes, practice as you're going to have going into week number 17. Basically nothing tomorrow, and go play the game on Saturday. You have 0 time to have 2 different game plans. So in other words, if the Texans win on Saturday and the Colts are officially eliminated before they take the field against the Jaguars, I understand giving the ball to Phillip Rivers. Now we have a different conversation for next week if that game is meaningless for the Indianapolis Colts by what happens on Saturday or by what happens on Sunday in terms of giving the ball to Anthony Richardson and or Riley Leonard for Week 18. But yes, given the time, the circumstance, this is the proper move. If Phillip Rivers is going to be your guy, then you don't have time to have a backup game plan to give the ball to somebody else for Sunday afternoon.
So, Caleb, I know that you and your dad are diehard Colts fans, as many of the listeners are. Are you okay with them sticking with Phillip Rivers despite the minuscule chance of them getting into the dance?
I think so, because I just think at this point, like, I feel like last week's performance, he's playing actually at a pretty okay level. Like, I'm kind of pleased with how last week went. And I would be okay if you trotted him out there again. I think when you see him on again, I still can't believe it was 3rd and goal from the 19 and the Niners let up a touchdown pass to this guy. It blows my mind. But he deserves credit for that. And so, yeah, I think I would be okay rolling with it. And Greg makes a great point. Like, it's hard to make a whole new game plan in 12 hours when you might find out that you're not eligible for the playoffs anymore. So yeah, I'm good with it. And I think one more week is going to be enough. And then, yeah, you reevaluate after that.
JB, think about how divergent the game plans were last year if you were using Anthony Richardson or Joe Flacco. Now I want you to multiply that by a time of about 50 in terms of what it would look like between Riley Leonard and or Anthony Richardson and a dude that was on the couch for the last five years. Yeah. So, yeah, and again, you have 2 less days with your team than you normally would between games. And, again, I'm sure this is not in Shane Steichen's thought process for what's going on here. But at the same time, if this game means nothing, this is the chance for Philip in front of his family and friends and God and country to have one more moment here in front of Indianapolis Colts fans knowing you're on the road next week. And then you are doing a disservice to your team if you don't give Riley Leonard some reps. And again, frankly, if Anthony Richardson can play and next Sunday is meaningless, you need to get both guys out there. You need to almost treat it like a preseason game.
I was going to say, it sounds like the old college when you got two guys in a week 0 game against nobody.
Face it, you are talking to the ultimate preseason expert right here. I know how game plans break down in terms of the preseason. And there is precedent for this. If you go back to the end of the 2015 season, now this was necessity was the mother of invention. This predates your time with the Indianapolis Colts, and you youngin', you're probably in college when this happened. But the Colts went through Andrew Luck, and then went through Matt Hasselbeck, and then went through Clipboard Jesus. He was here for about a minute and a half, and then he got hurt in a Saturday game around this time against the Miami Dolphins. They brought in Ryan Lindley and Josh Freeman off of the street and basically had plays for both players and used 2 quarterbacks in the season finale and won the game for the Indianapolis Colts.
Boy.
So, exactly. So anyway, if next week means nothing, then you should not have Phillip Rivers out there. You need to play Leonard, and if he is healthy and available, you need to play Anthony Richardson again if he is medically cleared to play. Because as you know, asking Shane Steichen that question, asking Anthony Richardson that question, seemingly have netted a couple of different answers over the last couple of weeks.
Yeah, I think we could definitely try to clarify some of that here on the show, but honestly, I think that this is a classic case of, in Anthony's position, every athlete's going to say they're 100% fine,
right?
No matter what happens. And then the coach says something that might be slightly different. But the bottom line is, from what I understand, and I think Anthony actually admitted this himself talking to him, he said he has no major limitations with his vision. And then I think everyone online, at least in my world on social media, they just took that as he's totally fine. And I'm like, no major limitations implies you still have limitations. And you probably want to protect that player to a degree if he's not seeing fully out there on the field, because it is a violent sport. And you don't put him out there if he's compromised in that regard. So I think that's a frustrating nuance for the fan base, Greg. But at the same time, I have to be the bearer of bad news and say, hey, again, when Shane says we're not going to activate this guy,
right, that
is a clear distinction that he's not ready to play football. So we'll get into more of that throughout the show for sure. I think that it is a conversation to have when it comes to the quarterback position, even going into next year. Like, what the heck do you do? And things of that nature. But we'll break down all the scenarios, I'm sure, of how they can get in. It does start with, fittingly, having to cheer for the Chargers, which Phillip Rivers did tell us. Maybe we'll play some of that audio later, Caleb, about how he didn't have to, have a hard time cheering for his old team.
Dadgummit.
So that'll be, I think, a big part of it. If other things we'll cover, obviously the Pacers.
Chargers, go.
That's what they were up to. Pacers, didn't really get a win the last time we were here. Milwaukee, they got it done. And
it's a win of a different variety. So, JB, when we refer to the standings in the Eastern Conference now, okay? First place is the Washington Wizards at 5-23. The Pacers are only a game out of first. That's the way the standings need to read. Of course, This isn't just an Eastern and Western Conference or Eastern Conference thing. It's also a Western Conference thing. The good news is the Sacramento Kings are 7-23. So the Pacers are currently in second in the entire NBA in the race to the bottom for the number one draft pick, or at least to have as good of a chance as possible in getting the number one pick for the first time in the history of the franchise.
Greg, you're right. That Pacer win against Sacramento a few weeks ago might come back to bite them.
That's what you get for trying. It's what you get for giving an effort, actually trying to win a game.
I'll be sure to relay this message to Rick Carlisle whenever he's on the airwaves next time and see if he doesn't look at me with the, jump through the phone and kill me or something like that. So it is something to think about. Miles Turner, I guess, gets the last laugh for that game, perhaps even this season, but at the same time, it's rough. It's just different seeing the switches and things. And honestly, I remember telling myself, wow, watching the Christmas games yesterday, Greg, boy, there was a time when I was advocating for the Pacers to play on Christmas. And then seeing some of the performances, I was like, yeah, it's probably better.
If Tyrese Halliburton had not been hurt, they would have been. Obviously, given how
Pacers,
given how last year would have ended if they win or get beat in 6 in the NBA, literally play one fewer game.
And he's healthy.
The Indiana Pacers are playing on Christmas Day.
Do you think they would have put them Pacers Bucks, or they would have put them in that Knicks slot at noon?
Again, this is the butterfly effect. This is the domino effect. If he doesn't get hurt,
it's true.
You invest more in Miles Turner. Miles stays here, and this team is. I don't know if they could have replicated last year's success because clearly there have been overuse injuries, and this is what makes what the Thunder have done against teams not named San Antonio all the more impressive, because once you make those deep runs in the playoffs, then guys get hurt and you are short players, especially early in the season, and that wear and tear catches up on you. So the Pacers, would they have been 10-15-ish like they were to start last year? No. Would they be far better than 6-24? Yes. Would they have been on Christmas Day for the first time since seemingly, 20 years ago? Yeah, because the Christmas Day game that stands out in my mind, and since I'm making references for when James was an Illini 10 years ago, I don't know what Romeoville Elementary School he went to 20 years ago.
Shout out to Hermanson.
But the return game for Jermaine O'Neal after serving what turned into a 15-game suspension for his part in the brawl was Christmas Day against the Detroit Pistons at the Fieldhouse in December of 2004. And I'm sure they have played on Christmas Day since then, but it feels like that was the last time I can actually remember a Christmas Day game for the Indiana Pacers.
Yeah, things have changed quite a bit for both franchises, I would say, throughout this season, and we'll see how things shake out. We'll get back to you on the other side of it. We'll head to a break here, but this is the Fan Morning Show here on 107.5, The Fan, and thank you all for tuning in, and happy belated Merry Christmas again.
With over 100 online casino-style games, Chumba Casino is your destination for nonstop entertainment. No purchase necessary. VGW Group. Void where prohibited by law. See terms and conditions. 21+.
I'm Mark Boyle, voice of the Indiana Pacers. For your best shot at better water, go local with C&J Water. They're Hoosiers serving Hoosiers, bringing cleaner, safer, better-tasting water to homes across central Indiana. When you purchase a new water softener in November or December, C&J Water donates to the Pacers Foundation, helping those in need here at home. Better water for your family, helping those in need at home and abroad. For your best shot at better water, trust the local pros at C&J Water.
Hey, it's JMV, and I only talk about the best, and the absolute best, Big Red Liquors. For that big game you and the fellas are getting ready to watch, you've got to have the supplies. Locally owned and operated since 1972, and you can always count on my friends at Big Red Liquors. The fastest, the friendliest, the cleanest liquor stores in the state of Indiana, and I promise there is one near you. For that big game, make it Big Red Liquors. For the location nearest you, that's BigRedLiquors.com.
If you're one of the millions of Americans behind on your taxes, if you're afraid to open your mail because IRS collection letters could be coming? Listen carefully. The IRS is cracking down, taking paychecks, freezing bank accounts, revoking passports. That's a fact. But here's what most people don't know. There are official tax relief programs designed to help struggling taxpayers. Programs that could save you thousands if you qualify. No one knows these programs better than the experts at Optima Tax Relief. Optima's award-winning team will fight to protect your paycheck, your passport, and your property. Their tax attorneys and licensed tax professionals will work tirelessly to get you the best deal possible with the IRS. Every day, penalties and interest keep piling up, so don't wait. Call Optima now for a free consultation.
Call 800-354-2840. 800-354-2840. 800-354-2840.
Optima Tax Relief.
Some restrictions apply. For complete details, please visit OptimaTaxRelief.com.
Continue the excitement of the holidays and unwrap a night of family fun with the blue and gold.
Pacers running with Shepard into the lane, up and under with the left hand. No, but trailing the play, crashing down the middle of the lane and laying it in is Isaiah Jackson.
Friday night, enjoy a great evening of basketball when the Pacers collide with the Celtics.
Neymar drives to his right, gets to the wing, bounce pass off the pick and roll, where Siakam picks it up and drives in for two.
Get your tickets at Pacers.com/tickets. Pacers Celtics, Friday at 7.
JMV here for the best in realty. Mark Dito Realty, 317-755-4232. That's 317-755-4232. MarkDietel.com. MarkDietel.com today. So, Michael in Speedway loved the Speedway home, and he raised a family there, but it was time to sell and downsize. Met with Mark Dietel and the team, and they explained their amazing marketing plan, and he was convinced. Just like the Speedway, things moved fast from there after just 3 days on the market. Michael accepted an offer for $11,000 over asking price. In fact, Mark Dietel is the only real estate expert I trust and recommend with the sale of my home. Mark Dietel guarantees your home sold at a mutually agreed upon price and deadline, or he will buy it. Pick your move date. There are no long-term contracts, and you can cancel at any time. It's Mark Dietel. Mark Dietel Realty, 317-755-4232. MarkDietel.com. MarkDietel.com today.
Marcus Morris here with Family Heating and Air. As we're reaching colder weather, you may find yourself in need of furnace service. At Family, we specialize in solutions to extend your furnace life. Call the Fix-It team from Family. You can easily reach us at FamilyHVAC.net. From our family to yours, have a happy holiday.
Family Heating and Air is your trusted local independent American Standard heating and air conditioning dealer.
Food insecurity is an urgent problem, one that impacts real Hoosiers. You can help today. Gleaners needs donations. Your contribution goes further with Gleaners. For every $10 you give, Gleaners leverages their resources to turn your $10 into $90 worth of groceries for families who desperately need help right now. Your gift benefits local community members, and every dollar counts. Gleaners also needs volunteers now to help with warehouse distribution. Go to gleaners.org and donate or get involved today.
Do you have $10,000 or more in credit card debt? Are you barely getting by making minimum payments? With credit card debt reaching all-time highs, National Debt Relief is letting everyone know about great debt relief options now available to help people with overwhelming credit card debt. These options may reduce a large portion of your credit card debt. Get a free debt relief consultation when you call 800-211-8833. 800-211-8833. That's 800-211-8833.
If you've started thinking about what to wear this fall, your timing is perfect because Macy's Fall Preview event has early deals on looks everyone will be wearing. Romantic dresses from BCBG and Avec Les Filles. Western-inspired boots and bags from Steve Madden, all 25% off. Plus, take 15 to 25% off fall beauty from Yves Saint Laurent, Estee Lauder, and Clinique. Don't wait. This fall preview won't be around for long. So come into Macy's today. Savings off regular and already reduced prices. Exclusions apply.
The Morning Checkdown on 93.5 and 107.5 The Fan.
Back in studio here on this Friday morning, day after Christmas. I showed up for work. Kevin Bowen and Jeff Rickard did not. Mark Dykton did not either. And then we have the Greg Rickshaw here on the Morning Checkdown.
How did you get stuck being here when everybody else is on the B team?
I don't know. I just didn't plan, I guess, but I don't mind coming in for work and making it happen. So we'll start with the injury report from yesterday. This is an updated injury report, and as you pointed out earlier, Greg, this is not an actual practice, an estimated injury report, but we did see some positive news on the Sauce Gardner front. He was listed as a estimated limited participant, which is significant because this is the first time he was listed as anything other than they did not practice since the injury. So signs are pointing towards him potentially perhaps getting back out there and playing this upcoming Sunday, and Lord knows they could use him.
The other guy that was a player that was upgraded was Bernard Ryman, who at doing nothing was a full participant yesterday in a practice that didn't actually happen. But if practice would have taken place, Bernard Ryman would have been a full participant.
There you go. And so elsewhere in the NFL world, we'll take a look at what else took place. And obviously it wasn't the Colts playing. It was more, so, again, just the full participant in not practicing. But we have the Cowboys knocking off the Commanders, the Vikings knocking off the Lions, and the Broncos knocking off the Chiefs in what could be the last home game of Travis Kelce's career. So that seemed to be pretty significant. He's still holding things close to the vest there, Rick, and won't say whether or not he'll come back. But I don't know, man. Is this the end?
I'm pretty sure he's going on tour becoming a full-time dancer / full-time podcaster.
Well, I mean, hey, it sounds like it pays well.
Travis Kelce countdown to being trophy husband in 3, 2, 1.
And then when you get to the NBA side of things, I thought we saw some amazing performances. I'll start actually with the nightcap yesterday and why I'm probably a little groggy today. I was about to go to bed, and then Anthony Edwards hit the crazy three-pointer to tie it, send it to overtime against Nikola Jokic and the Nuggets. But Jokic gets the last laugh of one of the best NBA games you will ever see from one person. It was indeed spectacular. He probably is the best player in the world at this point. He finishes the game with 56 points, 16 rebounds, 15 assists. No big deal.
So he was only 40 points away from matching what the Lakers did in yesterday's game.
We can go there too.
The Lakers, the only team that did not hang 100, which everybody scores 100 in NBA games these days. Jokic, by his lonesome, scored 56 points. How many assists did he have?
15.
All right. So, again, without knowing whether they contributed to twos or threes, the Nuggets scored 142 points. And at minimum, Jokic contributed to 86 of them.
Just an unbelievable player. And to your point about the Lakers, they look OLD. Shout out to LeBron James. He looked OLD yesterday. So they get blown out by the Rockets 119-96. The Warriors knocked off the Mavericks. Had a little bit of a reunion there between Klay Thompson and Stephen Curry. Stephen Curry, the sneaker free agent, was wearing Klay Thompson's shoes to beat him on Christmas. The Spurs knock off the Thunder. I think they're 3-0 against the Thunder in the last 2 weeks, which is impressive. Wemby is coming. I mean, they're knocking off the defending champs. And you had SGA, Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, who's a fan favorite here in Indianapolis, by the way, say after the game that he did not really think that his team is better than the Spurs right now. So that's interesting. And then you got the Knicks coming back to beat the Cavaliers in the first game of the day, which, to Caleb's point from earlier, had Halliburton been healthy, that would have been a Pacers game in that slot.
To put it in perspective, the Oklahoma City Thunder are 26-2 when they are playing teams that are not located along the Riverwalk. When they play the Spurs, they are 0-3, which obviously now that becomes the most interesting rivalry currently in the NBA, forecasting this all the way down into May and or into June. Because the Thunder appear unbeatable, except when the Stifle Tower is involved. Actually, that's Rudy Gobert. What is the nickname we have for Wemby other than just Wemby?
I was going to say, is it just Wemby? Is it just, a created player, alien? I don't know. The guy is unbelievable. Unbelievable. I've seen him in person, Greg, and I get reminded of why I am in the studio with you all and why I'm not on a basketball court because, I think I would have had to be a little bit taller to compete with anybody that's 7'5".
Allow me to give you a really crappy nickname. Not Euro Disney, Euro Bizney, because he gives everybody the business.
I mean, look.
What do we think? No.
I mean,
should I leave now? Dad jokes go home.
I'll give you 7 out of 10 on that one.
That's
not
a 7,
too bad.
That's a 7
not
out of
too
45.
Bad. How
was
we win
bad.
in, Caleb? What do you think?
Terrible.
I'm with it, Greg.
Horrific.
Hey, we can workshop it throughout the show.
Soccer
We'll come up with something.
So that's what we have there. I guess I'll knock out the rest of this check down by this. I did have a chance to stop by the Hall of Fame and check out the Hall of Fame Classic. Rakestraw, you were there.
Thanks for coming over and saying hello, by the way.
Yeah, I'm sorry. That was probably a little rude, but I didn't want to interrupt you working, man.
You didn't interrupt Luke Ertl's jump shot when you took the picture. You come over the other side of the court and said hello as well.
This is true. So you want to give the folks a little rundown of how your, I couldn't say it's like a weekend, but kind of holiday week looked like and what you got coming up.
Well, my schedule is inverted because of the way the dates fell for Christmas and for New Year. So I'm busy on Mondays and Tuesdays, but like this and finishing up Soccer Saturday's holiday edition for tomorrow here on 93.5 and 107.5 The Fan are the work responsibilities I have today. So I'm off tonight and I'm off tomorrow night, which Friday and Saturdays off just don't happen for me in consecutive fashion. So Monday it was, in fact, here's my Monday and Tuesday. You'll get a kick out of this. So Monday morning I am doing the Girls Session of the Hall of Fame Classic. And then I check into the Steve Alford All-American Inn. That's where the giant shoe is.
I love that.
In front of that one. So then did that, came back to do Monday Night Football, signed off at 2:15 in the morning, drove back to Newcastle to get to my room, got there about 3:05. I think I got about 5.5 hours of sleep going into Tuesday and did 4 basketball games on Tuesday. Helped the boys tear down, was back in my driveway at 11:20, and this is the first time I have spoke professionally since then because I actually did try to check out as best I could on Christmas Eve and Christmas Day, which is why I saw 0 seconds of what Nikola Jokic did last night because I was cashed out. I was like Phillip Rivers. I was on the couch.
Well, we'll see what that brings. And so to pivot a little bit, I do want to get back into the Colts conversation. Obviously, they have a lot at stake coming up this weekend before they even take the field. And the question I have for Phillip and the others is, are you the type to watch the game you need to break your way? Or are you too nervous to watch? And, of course, he replied and said, I got to watch. I got to cheer for my former team to help my current team. And I think it just speaks to how crazy things have kind of unfolded for this franchise. This was a team that was 8-2, flew back across the water from Berlin, Rake, at the number 1 spot in the AFC. And now we're talking about, can you avoid one of the all-time collapses since the NFL-AFL merger in 1970? They would become the 6th team to win 7 or 8 of their first 8 games and miss the playoffs.
You were not only 8-2, you were up 20-9 to the Kansas City Chiefs.
Yeah, I honestly forgot about that part of it. Yes,
who have turned
in
out
the fourth quarter,
who have turned out to be your worst loss of the season.
Yeah,
now, imagine digesting that phrase in your head as you're going into it. Now, this is the case, and I know this is something that the guy that normally sits in the middle of the three-way here on a Monday through Friday morning. But this is one where what he says rings true. Both these things can be true, or several things can be true. This is the overlapping Venn diagram, where, yes, this is an historic collapse by the Colts. Injuries absolutely play a factor in it, and not just the one at the quarterback position. The other thing, and I have not had the chance to go and research this, and I'm sure I will long after the season comes to an end, but in my years of covering the team, which is now, hitting its second quarter century, I can never remember a finishing kick to a schedule as tough as this one. Again, the Chiefs without Patrick Mahomes probably going to be 7-10 or 6-11 because they finish with the Raiders next week, who, much like the Pacers, are playing for the number 1 pick at this point in time. Other than that, every other team, which is just 4 because of the way the schedule quirk worked out, will have at least 11 wins. It is possible every team they play will have at least 12 wins to finish a season. And I have never seen a stretch like that. So, in other words, have the Colts collapsed? Absolutely. Your record is what your record says it is. Results are what the scoreboard says. But are there extenuating circumstances? Yes. And have the Colts played a ridiculously tough schedule over the final 6 weeks of the season? That is also a factual statement.
Yeah, and I think that is the bigger picture, or part of the bigger picture, when you have to evaluate what happens next.
Right.
If you lose out, I think everything's on the table. I think before this, I was thinking, okay, finish the season 9-8, make the playoffs, miss the playoffs, whatever. You can say, hey, injuries are a part of it. But I understand there's probably some listeners going, James, This is year 9 for Chris Ballard.
There are two different outlooks. There are two different reset button options, or frankly, 3 different reset button options at this point, which will be the primary topic of conversation for the next 7 days, likely in the city and on these microphones that we are using here. But in terms of the decision as to what to do, are you looking at this through a 1-year lens or a 9-year lens? If you're looking at this through a 1-year lens, you go, all right, I get it. This team was 8-2. This team was 7-1. This team was on a historic offensive clip before your quarterback got hurt. Then your quarterback suffered a season-ending injury. Other injuries played a part. You played a very tough schedule down the stretch, et cetera, et cetera. It's easy to explain away the flaws of 2025. What is tougher to do is to explain away 11 years without a division championship, 7 years since you won a playoff game, or 5 years since you participated in a playoff game. And so it's really, are you taking a 4-month view? Are you taking a 2-month view? Or are you taking a decade-long view? Because obviously, those are 2 very different answers. And it's why, when I have said this on Colts-Related Programming, on a phone line talking to folks such as yourself, or as you and I are looking at each other eye to eye having this conversation right now, when somebody says, what do you think is going to happen? And I go, I don't know. And the reason being is that the person making the decision is a different person than the person who's making the decision 12 months ago. I don't know the answer. If things play out the way we expect them to this Sunday and next, I don't know what's going to happen. And that's the biggest reason why.
We'll take a quick break here, but we'll certainly revisit the conversation on the other side, as well as taking a look at IU. I know they've been off for a while, but we should probably bring up the fact that they do have a playoff game guaranteed coming up here in about a week or so. So stick with us. We'll be back here on The Fan.
The Ohio State Buckeyes take on the Miami Hurricanes in the Cotton Bowl. Wednesday night at 7 on 93.5 and 107.5 The Fan.
Actual price will depend on product and subscription plan. Featured products are compounded drug products, which the FDA does not approve or verify for safety, effectiveness, or quality. Prescription products require an online consultation with a healthcare provider who will determine if appropriate. See website for details, restrictions, and important safety information.
Want a boost in and out of the bedroom? Hims has you covered. Introducing a new 2-in-1 approach to level up your game. Tadalafil for better bedroom performance and zinc for testosterone support. Put it all together and you've got what you need to turn things all the way up. Getting started is simple. Just go to hims.com/joy to start your free online visit. Through Hims, you can access ED treatments including pills, chews, and more. 100% online. No office visits, no pharmacy lines. Just fill out a simple intake form and a licensed medical provider will determine if treatment's right for you. If prescribed, it ships free and discreetly to your door. Find affordable treatment options at up to 95% less than brand names at hims.com/joy. That's hims.com/joy, hims.com/joy.
It's JMV for BullseyeEventGroup.com, the Colts VIP tailgate presented by Hayes & Sons Restoration. All you can eat, all you can drink. Before each Colts home game, make your game day experience the best it can be. Entertained inside the Bullseye Event Center and the great food from celebrity chef Kelsey Murphy. That and more, and combo up your passes with tickets to the game. That's the BullseyeEventGroup.com Colts VIP tailgate presented by Hayes & Sons Restoration. Get your passes now. BullseyeEventGroup.com.
Hey, it's Jake Query. I've been talking a lot about winning football in Indy lately, but how about winning lunch? You could lose lunch with an overpriced sandwich meal or average greasy fast food, but why would you want to do that? It's so easy to win with lunch with Chicago's Pizza. Right now, the Chicago's Pizza team is prepping fresh ingredients and freshly made crust ready to bake right before you arrive. You can get deep dish pizza, traditional pizza. You can choose thin or crispy crust. All amazing. And you can add a large healthy salad with homemade ranch dressing from the salad bar, hot fresh made breadsticks with marinara or cheese sauce, a fountain drink and dessert pizza. And you have a winning lunch right there at a great price. It's fresh and delicious, all for just $13 all in. This is a no-brainer deal. Get in, get great food, and get out fast. It's Chicago's Pizza all-in $13 lunch buffet. Get it weekdays from 11 a.m. to 1:30 p.m. at 18 Indiana area locations, 25 statewide. Find the closest location near you at chicagospizza.com. Be a winner at lunch at Chicago.
Totally changed my life.
It's amazing. I don't have any cravings. You want to quit, but have found it impossible? This is the thing for you. I have absolutely no craving. It's the darndest thing I have ever seen in my life.
It's not for entertainment. It's for results.
Do it. It works. Period.
You've tried everything else. You need to come and try this.
Stop smoking with hypnosis. Only $59.99 guaranteed or your money back. Stop smoking with hypnosis guaranteed with no irritability and no cravings. Don't just cut down, but stop smoking once and for all. In addition, use hypnosis to lose all the weight and destroy unwanted cravings. Hypnosis programs are Thursday, January 29th at the Holiday Inn Express and Suites in Noblesville. Weight loss hypnosis at 5:30, stop smoking hypnosis 8 p.m. Or Saturday, January 31st at the Holiday Inn Indianapolis Airport. Weight loss hypnosis 11 a.m., stop smoking hypnosis at 2 p.m. Sign up at markpatrickseminars.com. That's markpatrickseminars.com.
JMV here, and guys, you've heard of TRT, but you have no idea what testosterone can do for you. Once you start treatment, you'll wish you had done it sooner. Now you can take the TRT test for free at Center Gen X and Low T Center. Walk in before 10 a.m. or book ahead at fixmylowt.com. The place for guys to go is Center Gen X and Low T Center for TRT. The TRT test is free, not hundreds of dollars. The testosterone is pure, not compounded. Guys feel full of energy, not like they're still waiting for it to kick in. Get in now for your free TRT test. No appointment necessary before 10 a.m. or book ahead at fixmylowt.com. Guys, you're going to wish you had started TRT sooner. Don't you just want to know your level? Find out with the free TRT test at Center Gen X and Low T Center. Walk in before 10 a.m. or book ahead at fixmylowt.com. That's fixmylowt.com. Center Gen X and Low T Center. Get that free T test today. fixmylowt.com.
My name is Whitney Allen. I am a widow. My husband Ryan died. We never thought in a million years we'd have to use life insurance. The unexpected happened. With Ethos, it is so fast and easy. It's 100% online. You can get a quote in seconds, apply in minutes, and get same-day coverage. No medical exams, and you can get up to $3 million worth of coverage through Ethos.
Get your free quote at ethos.com/game. That's ethos.com/game.
Time spent on application may vary. Online health questions required.
If you've started thinking about what to wear this fall, your timing is perfect because Macy's Fall Preview event has early deals on looks everyone will be wearing. Romantic dresses from BCBG and Avec Les Filles. Western-inspired boots and bags from Steve Madden, all 25% off. Plus, take 15 to 25% off fall beauty from Yves Saint Laurent, Estee Lauder, and Clinique. Don't wait. This fall preview won't be around for long. So come into Macy's today. Savings off regular and already reduced prices. Exclusions apply.
You're listening to the Fan Morning Show on Sports Radio 93.5 and 107.5 The Fan.
Now, I got to jump in quickly before James actually says something. I was watching his finger. So as he's doing the head bob, I even have the white man overbite. Listen to TROY here. So is this like the grown folks music that you were growing up to? Was this like grandparents' music? Because obviously this is like my high school days hearing that. And this is usually when I got the YouTube playlist going, this is on there at some point in time.
Yeah, I would say this was like my parents' type of music.
Yeah.
And honestly,
I'm only 19 years older than you, so that makes a lot of sense. Yeah.
There you go. So you can't just put too much, age on yourself. I will say going home and hearing some of the music they were playing for Christmas, it's like I get the inevitable. You don't know nothing about this. You ain't heard this before and all of that.
And you'll say these things in 20 years just so you know.
Exactly.
It's coming.
So
you'll be there eventually.
I enjoyed it. It's funny. Going home is like stepping back into the 90s because my mom has probably made the tree up the same way because she still keeps all the stuff that we made when we were like 7 or 8.
Yeah.
So I see myself at different points of my life and I'm just like, so you don't want like the very, pristine Christmas tree? She's like, nope, I want character.
I was going to say, it could also be just going home to Romeoville, too.
That is true.
It could be that.
Yeah, that
Since
is true.
I am your one friend here that has actually been to Romeoville. And this is going to sound like a life choice. It's not. This is an actual physical location thing. When I go to Romeoville, the options were you can go to jail or you can go to college because literally they were right next to each other.
That is
so
true.
Lewis University, that has been a longtime rival of my alma mater, the University of Indianapolis, is located in Romeoville, which is why when I first met JB, when he's working for the Times in Northwest Indiana, and his Twitter handle is Romeoville Kid, I actually knew exactly where he was talking about. And so if you took the wrong turn off of the highway to get to Lewis University, you ended up going to the prison. So when you go to his hometown, those are his two options. And Lewis is the Flyers as their mascot because you can major in aviation there, and it's literally right next to the airport. So I guess there are three options. You could, and flight risk is two different things in terms of the jail, the airport, or going to college.
See, Caleb, I made it out.
I need to make a trip up to Romeo.
Yeah, I beat the odds, man. It's a very tough place to
no,
grow up.
You
no,
don't.
it's
Just
not.
take James' words for it. You're good.
Definitely not. But I did want to touch on this. We were talking about IU a little bit before we went to break and come out of the break. One of the things that interests me about where the college football landscape is and how crazy things are for them. So they go play in the biggest game in program history on the first.
Yes.
On the second, the transfer portal opens. And win or lose, you have to be dialed in on that. And so I was reading throughout the Indy Star, and they do great work there. And the way Kurt Cignetti has kind of phrased it is this week off that they've had has been really big for them to kind of scout the transfer portal and try to target guys or think about guys that they might want to have join their program to obviously sustain their success. So it's so fascinating to me, Rake, to understand that you've put in all this work to get to this point and you don't get to breathe. We got to breathe a little bit. Obviously, our jobs are not the same as, being the head coach of a Big Ten program, one of the best in the country.
Nor paid as well, neither.
No, you're definitely not. No. But at the same time, there is no rest for the weary.
No. There's a bit of rest once you are either eliminated or win a national championship. And now that the portal windows have shrunk in terms of the time in which you are dealing with this. And for the first time in the history of the football program, Indiana is dealing from a position of power. Like, as you talk about the transfer portal being open, all I think about are Winthorpe and Valentine and trading places. That would be Dan Aykroyd and Eddie Murphy, by the way. Just basically go, buy 142, and everybody is diving in because they want to play for Indiana.
Yeah.
And Indiana has the resources to pay those players that want to come play for Indiana. So, yes, there is an extra added layer of work there, but believe me, these are the first-class problems that you want to have.
That is true. Yeah, when you put it in that perspective, and you can sell it. I mean, you can literally sell. Hey,
literally, you can sell it.
We have
to the highest bidder.
Yeah, we have the best. No, you're not lying about that. We have the best team in the country is one of your selling points, especially if you win that game. And then you can say, we just had the best player, too, with the Heisman. And we can tell you, hey,
transfer here and we'll give you the Heisman. Indiana can actually say that. That is a factual statement.
And draft picks, too. Like, they're going to get so many guys to the NFL now. We will have the
number one pick in the draft.
Oh, yeah. I told you my dad's a Raiders fan, and now he's all on board the Fernando Mendoza train, and there's nothing I want more than him to avoid the Raiders. I feel like that's just a bad...
Because the Jets are the better option?
I mean, I think it's the Giants right now, but they wouldn't draft another quarterback.
Correct.
So,
right. Those are the two teams at the bottom of the barrel that clearly are going to go quarterback.
I need my boy Fernando Mendoza to find some more eligibility somewhere. I'm sure it's out there. We got all kind of loopholes. We got 25-year-olds, 26-year-olds playing in NCAA football looking for 7 and 8 seasons.
There is a guy that was drafted in the 31st pick of the NBA draft that's not going to be playing at Baylor University this year for college basketball. Yes, there's not loopholes because there's no rules anymore. Rules don't exist.
That blew
Did you
my
miss
mind.
that yesterday?
I missed this. So feel free to fill me in a little bit if you have the Cliff Notes version, because I did not know.
He was involved in an NBA trade with Karl Anthony Towns. Never played a game in the NBA. Deemed eligible by our esteemed friends about 15 blocks from where you and I are having this conversation at the NCAA. Because there are no rules whatsoever.
I think he played against Wemby in the Summer League.
Correct. He has played in the Summer League. But you know how G League guys are getting college eligibility?
Yeah.
Now.
Oh, boy.
Lace them up, James.
Yeah, but the hoop dreams aren't dead. I thought they were dead when I was like 19.
We got guys playing college basketball and never played college basketball before, and it's just unbelievable.
Boy, this would be like LeBron going back to Ohio State after he retires from the NBA or something. Like, this is
I'm not sure if it's James Najee. I'm not sure. He was the 31st pick in the 2023 NBA draft. Did not play college basketball. came in from Europe, has played in the Summer League, played for Barca in the Euro League. So, again, full-blown professional. And that's when you started seeing like these late signees, even a place like Indiana State has a player, I think, from Norway, has a player from Belgium. These are guys that were playing professional basketball because this is now what this is at the college level because of guys getting paid. It's not amateur basketball anymore. And so the theory is, well, he hasn't played in the NBA, so he is eligible to play in college basketball. 7 foot, 21 years of age, trained with Serge Ibaka in 2023, and now will play for the Baylor Bears.
That is unacceptable, but I guess we have to accept it because the rules are different and the world is crazy.
Or you could just not watch.
Yeah,
There's that
boy,
too.
Can you imagine? I
think is increasingly becoming the case in college basketball unless you are watching like your team.
That's true. I was going to say, this feels a little bit like when you ask Phillip Rivers how much he can relate to a guy like Tanner Bortolini or Josh Downs, who's 17, 18 years younger than him. We can have a college roster with a guy who's old enough to, rent his own car, and then you got guys who are not old enough to get off their parents' insurance. Boy, that is quite the difference there.
See, this is what happens when you unplug for a couple of days. You miss some of these things.
Yeah, I did miss some of these things. One thing I did not unplug from was the Colts. I did keep the alerts on when it comes to the injury report and anything that might have came across the wire. I will say this, Rake, as much as we talked about the offense and Phillip Rivers and what it means for him to come back, and I thought he looked pretty good for 75% of that game before the pick six. I thought he looked like a good quarterback. He looked fantastic.
And he, again, you're down by 2 scores. You're forcing it.
You're pressing,
and
yeah.
Phillip's always been kind of an open book. He got the read off an earlier check that I made. Good on that dude for making a play.
Exactly. But that isn't the full story of how that game unfolded. The defense was absolutely awful.
Right. Colts and Phillip Rivers played defensive tackle or middle linebacker.
Exactly.
Yes.
And I think that part of it was probably one of the more disappointing. And it's happened on a near annual basis where this team folds in the big moments for whatever reason. You can point to injuries. You can point to offensive inexecution, if that's a word. And you can point to the defense, I thought, just falling flat on its face, and you're going up against a Jacksonville team that is surging. So as much as I want to, again, keep harping on the old quarterback and can he do it? Can he stay off Father Time? Can he get some help?
Right.
I mean, could you imagine if
he was not the problem.
No. If he gets off the couch, Rake, and pushes this thing, gives him, I thought, his best, he deserves the best from the guys who are, again, 15, 17 years his junior.
I thought there were 3 guys you could point to on Monday night and go, that guy played really well. Phillip Rivers is obviously one of them. Alec Pierce is one of them.
Yeah.
Blake Grupe would be the other guy. And there's other individuals that made decent plays, catches, et cetera, blocked well. And again, offensive line, was the island of misfit toys by the end of the game because you really had 4 backups in the game. And I thought largely they did their job from a pass protection standpoint. Running the football, not so much. But again, you're running behind a second string offensive line at this juncture. Things like that are going to happen. But no, Phillip Rivers has gone from how could you ask this guy to do this to he was one of your best players on Monday Night Football. And of all of the stats we could trot out about the way the defense played on Monday night, not having the Niners punt, 7 of 11 on third down, the most damning number is the fact that Brock Purdy got hit one more time than you and I did.
Yeah.
The time that Latu got home and forced to fumble, and kind of indicative of what that game was. Even that was recovered and picked up for a 3-yard gain by one of the tight ends. But you got home on the quarterback one time. Once. That's it.
And when we have that Chris Ballard conversation, that has to be a sore spot for not only him, because we know how much he loves the trenches.
Yep.
He loves the big dudes, and they invested so much in that unit. And for them to not really have any statement moments this season, any signature standout plays that I can think of that really flipped a game or changed their trajectory of their season, that's disheartening. And I think that is a big, big point that a lot of the fans, and to their credit, I'll give them that respect of being frustrated. Like, wait a second, this isn't a defensive line that we've overlooked or we're hoping to find the needle in the haystack or, the diamond in the rough. These dudes were supposed to be diamonds from the start.
You have in your defensive end rotation 2 first-round picks and a second-round pick.
And then think of the money you put into these guys, into your defensive line. Think of the investments. JT Tuimoloau, who's been out actually with an oblique injury this week, he hasn't lived up to where you drafted him.
Nope.
Latu, he's been okay this season, but he hasn't been a dude. And when you draft a guy, the first defensive player selected a couple years ago, he's got to be a dude for you. Kwity Paye, you picked up his 5th-year option. He's probably walking in free agency. I can't imagine you're trying to bring him back. He's had a very quiet year, so
I just think
it's tough, Caleb.
Yeah, no, it is. And I just want to jump in and say, like, the 2 biggest things of this 9-year run here has been the lack of success in finding a long-term quarterback, and then what you guys are talking about, this pass rush. And isn't that what we say the great NFL teams have? Is they have
good point, yeah.
They have the great quarterback, and they have edge rushers who are relentless, and those are the 2 biggest things that have just lacked. And there's other talent on the roster, but you need those cornerstones.
Yeah, and you probably need
They're
some
also the
corners,
2
too.
toughest things to find.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
They're the 2 things, because they're so tough to find, that you have to hit on in a draft. You don't get those things usually via free agency. And again, the best recent example of that is Myles Garrett, who did not want to be in Cleveland. But not to go all Ted DiBiase on you, everybody has a price.
There you go.
And the Browns are paying him a ridiculous amount of money to be far and away the best pass rusher in the league and likely set a new NFL record for sacks in a season, and to do it for a team that's probably going to win 3 games. Again, you're not going to find that guy in free agency. It's why you have to hit on him in the draft. And the Colts have not been able to do that.
And that's what hurts. That's what hurts. And then you look at the other things that have not gone your way, and boy, there are a litany of things, Rick. If we had to say after the Berlin win, when JT goes off, okay, what things do you not want to happen? Every single one has happened.
Right, yeah.
They have gotten
I saw
zero help.
I saw a stat where I think going up to last weekend's games, like the results the Colts needed for assistance went 0-16. Correct.
I mean, it is remarkable how quickly things have changed and pivoted, which, again, leads me to, and I think, shout out to Stephen Holder for ESPN for kind of getting at this past week, is like, asking different players or asking the coaching staff, how do you define this season? How would you describe it? Explain it. And hearing that perspective from certain players and the coaches, it's interesting because it almost feels like you're watching 2 halves of a different movie.
Right.
The one where everything goes right and you're right up into the sunset and you have the team that finally gives this city the real hope to contend. And then you got the other half where it's like, why am I a sports fan? This is painful.
Right.
I mean, I feel for Colts fans because, boy, if you would have told me they were going to miss the playoffs, or to this extent, because they're not out of it yet, technically, you would need 12 different things to happen for you to get in.
And all 12 of those things happen.
I mean, it's
right.
It's tough.
Yeah.
It's tough.
Going into the season, I was probably on the high end of the win total when I thought this was a 10-win team. Now, obviously, things have to go right for them to be a 10-win team, given how but they were far better the first 2 months of the season than I ever thought that this group was going to be. Again, it's why, and that question is a great question to get their perspective, coaches and players. Again, the ultimate decision maker is Carly, Kalen, and Casey, and notably from a football standpoint, Carly. And it is, are you looking at this through a 1-year lens? Are you looking at this through a 9-year lens? And for those of you that are uninitiated, the reason we say a 9-year lens, this is wrapping up the 9th year that Chris Ballard has been the general manager of the Indianapolis Colts. If you look at this through a 1-year lens, you go, I can explain why this went wrong and why this went wrong and why that went wrong. And let's keep this together. And again, keeping things together don't always mean the same thing, because given where you're at from a salary cap standpoint, a roster construction standpoint, a quarterback standpoint, and not having a number 1 pick the next 2 years, you're kind of forced to keep things together from a roster standpoint. So keeping things together means, do you bring back general manager? Do you bring back head coach? Do you bring back one and not the other? And again, that's what the conversation, we can kind of get into that now, but that's really what the conversation will be next week if the Texans win on Saturday and or the Colts lose on Sunday.
Yeah.
Because then you are fully into that mode.
Because right now, asking these questions, you still have that group of people that it's like, oh, man, we still got a chance. I'm not thinking about next year or how things might look or how to assess the season when it's not over. But this kind of reminds me of, I want to say last year, where they had to go to New York, play the Giants.
Right.
And no one will really go there about how mathematically, after JT dropped the ball in Denver, it was like a 3% chance of getting to the playoffs or whatever. So everyone kind of, hey, we don't want to talk about that. Season's still on the line. And then you lay an absolute egg against a team that had lost 10 straight coming into that game.
Right.
And the answer shifted. And you get some more transparency of why things aren't working or why things have been this stagnant. And I do think, personally, I would look at this more as a 9-year review of Chris Ballard and company and go from there. But we'll get into this perhaps, I think, throughout later in the show. We got plenty of time here for sure. But do you view them as a package deal? It's one of the questions that my boy Kevin Bowen here on the Fan asked.
My guess is I can hear his voice saying joined at the hip, because that is the old school Jim Irsay.
That's what he said.
Ryan Grigson, Chuck
Are they
Pagano
joined at the
reference.
hip? And I do think that is a question that weighs on this regime, or has to, when you have that conversation about the future and changes you want to make. Because if you move on from the GM, which I think is well within the range of possibilities, well within the rights of the team, the frustration of the fan base, I get all of that. If you do that, then you now have to ask yourself, do you want to just start over completely with a new head coach? Do they bring in somebody differently? Is your defensive coordinator still going to be there with Lou Anarumo? We were raving about him earlier this year. Does that stay the same? There's so many trickle-down effects I think that can happen if you make that move. And to your point, Rake, I'm just not necessarily sure they'll go that route because they've invested so much into this one already.
But I can tell you, you really, unless you want to eat a lot of salary cap money, and again, everything normally starts with, all right, if you're going to hit the reset button, you're hitting the reset button to go get a quarterback. You can't go get one the next 2 years. And again, if Daniel Jones is healthy, I'm not sure you have to, given how well he played. So everything starts at the quarterback position on offense. Everything starts at the pass rush position on defense. And because of not having those first-round picks, that is the domino effect then that kind of affects all of the decisions from a personnel standpoint. I think you can make those independently of a general manager and or a coach. But from a personnel standpoint, I'm not saying bring guys back in free agency, but again, knowing you don't have the ability to go get a quarterback in the first round. And I did do this exercise. I know we're kind of up against it time-wise, so I'll try to be brief with this. I think 26 of 32 NFL teams basically have a first-round quarterback that is their planned number one quarterback. Doesn't mean that guy's playing due to injury. But that they have built their franchise around a first-round pick. 26 of 32, including the Colts, they've got 2 of them on the team, are first-round draft picks. Knowing you can't change the quarterback position for the next couple of years, that tells you that, again, from a roster standpoint, you're probably largely running it back. Now, does that mean you're the same the general manager and the coach? JB, I don't think that has to be the case.
No,
I don't
it
think,
certainly doesn't.
I don't think that's necessarily if this, then that.
That's a conversation we can definitely continue on the other side and revisit a little bit throughout the show. And we'll hit a break here, a short break here. Thank you all for listening and tuning in the day after Christmas, because Lord knows it was hard getting up.
We're still working.
93.5 and 107.5 The Fan. Your home for Indy sports. Now with even more ways to listen.
Listen on air.
Online at 1075thefan.com.
And on our free app.
Stay connected to all things Indy sports, including the latest news, show blogs, and catch up on what you've missed with our podcast.
We're never more than just a click away.
Download our app at Google Play and on the App Store. From your home for Indy sports.
93.5 and 107.5 The Fan.
Do you own a small business? You need to hear this. A seismic shift is coming. It's time to get super sure. Not kind of sure, not pretty sure, but super sure. Coming soon.
BullseyeEventGroup.com, the Colts VIP tailgate presented by Hayes & Sons Restoration. Your Colts game day experience, the best it can be. Log on and get your passes now. BullseyeEventGroup.com.
Hey, Colts fans, Crown Royal is a proud partner of the Indianapolis Colts, and this season it's not game day without the generous spirit of Crown Royal. Whether you're at the tailgate, in the stands, or watching from home, Crown Royal is the reason and the reward for coming together. Grab a glass with the Crown Royal rig at a stadium near you, because we'll be sharing the generous spirit with fans across the country. Crown Royal, fueling game day with a generous spirit. Visit www.crownroyal.com/Royal Rig for more on the Crown Royal Rig Tour. Please drink responsibly.
This year, make Christmas cash with Farnsworth Metal Recycling. Raised Demolition and Farnsworth Metal Recycling, family owned in Indy for 3 generations, are names you know and trust. Bring in your scrap aluminum, steel, copper, or brass and turn it into holiday spending money. Whether you're decking the halls, buying gifts, or just want a little extra jingle in your pocket, cash is king at Farnsworth.
Farnsworth Metal Recycling, a familiar face in Indy.
Get ready for heel-tapping fun as you discover the new $2 Wizard of Oz scratch-off from the Hoosier Lottery. With 4 unique scenes and prizes up to $10,000, the Emerald City awaits. From the Hoosier Lottery, champions of play. Play responsibly.
Hi, I'm Dustin, your friend and jeweler at Shane Company. I know finding a dream engagement ring can be overwhelming, but don't worry, we got you. As director of diamond sourcing, it's my job to make sure every single diamond at Shane Company is truly the best of the best. Our team travels the world to see diamonds up close, in person. We handpick each one for its unique fire, brilliance, and scintillation. Diamond buying is an art. Of course, we look at cut, color, clarity, and carat, known as the 4 C's. But that's not all. We also look at how each diamond looks on a hand, where it will be worn, how it makes you feel, and if it's worthy of a Shane Company customer. That type of expertise only comes from working for a company that's been a family business since 1929. We also think about your budget. We only pick the best in each grade in all shapes and sizes. Your diamond is guaranteed to be the most beautiful because a friend wants you to pick from only the best. Drop by your store or shaneco.com and see for yourself. Shane Company, your friend and jeweler.
Hey, JMV for the best in realty. Mark Dietel Realty, 317-755-4232. That's markdietel.com, markdietel.com today. So Troy in Connersville was in a real estate challenge, wanted to sell his home over market value and buy a home near his favorite hunting area with land and no HOA close to town. Miraculously, the Mark Dietel team did it all. They found the perfect new home at a great price and sold his current home in 10 days for $10K over the list price. In fact, Mark Dietel is the only real estate expert I trust and recommend with the sale of my home. Mark Dietel guarantees your home sold at a mutually agreed upon price and deadline, or he won't buy it. Pick your move date. There are no long-term contracts, and you can cancel at any time. It's Mark Dietel Realty, 317-755-4232. That's markdietel.com, markdietel.com today.
Did you hear? Allstate car insurance now costs even less. So when you bundle with home, you can save even more. Check Allstate first to bundle and save with a new lower auto rate. You're in good hands with Allstate. Not available in every state. Only applicable for new auto insurance business. Rates will vary by several factors, including how you purchase the policy. Potential savings may vary. Allstate North American Insurance Company and Affiliates, Northbrook, Illinois.
Getting more as a MyLowe's Pro Rewards member is easier than ever with the Lowe's app. Download it today and earn 500 points the first time you log in. Plus, your digital wallet helps you scan, save, earn, and access what you need to manage it all in one place. Download the Lowe's app and take advantage of your Pro benefits today. Lowe's, we help, you save. Valid 12/125 through 1/7/26. Offer valid for first login per organization only. Loyalty program subject to terms and conditions. Additional restrictions apply. Visit Lowe's.com/terms for more details. Subject to change.
From the DriveHubler.com studios, this is 93.5 and 107.5 The Fan.
WIBC HD2, HD3, Indianapolis.
You're listening to The Fan Morning Show on Sports Radio 93.5 and 107.5 The Fan.
JB, when you hear this beat, are you trying to figure out the rhymes in your head like Marshall Mathers? Is that exactly what you're doing?
I feel like I'm loading up to go out there for battle or something. I got to play this before the pickup games against JMV.
I remember when I found out that when Clarence's parents had a really good marriage and he went to Cranbrook, that is actually a legitimate private school in Detroit that you can attend.
I did not know that.
That was not a fictitious name. That is a real place somewhere not close to 8 Mile, apparently. Just remember, kids, there's no such thing as halfway crooks.
Greg knows his 90s hip-hop, and I'm going to just go through the rest of the show, Greg, just rejoining with 90s hip-hop.
Absolutely. Please. Thank you.
Caleb has a bit of an old soul there, so I feel like he's from a different time.
I'm a bit of an old man, so it hits well.
Well, speaking of old men, we have a 44-year-old quarterback starting for the team in our city, Phillip Rivers, and I did get a kick out of him saying that he had to cheer for the Chargers, which will be easy for him to do. And he kind of reminds me, it gives me like Ted Lasso vibes of just, perpetual optimism no matter what, because it is bleak right now for the Colts.
You think there's a believe sign above his locker?
Oh, boy. I think it's like written on his heart. He probably got it tattooed on his chest or something like that, knowing this guy.
Nunk Champy.
And
Begin again.
And again, he is someone who I think this group really respects. And there is a sense of, he can actually do this. We actually have a chance, but you're on your knees hoping and praying that first domino falls in your favor, and it's a tough matchup. This is a matchup that can go either way, the Texans or the Chargers. And again, for the Colts purposes, the first two things that have to happen for them to stay alive in the playoff picture is to, A, have the Chargers beat the Texans on Saturday, which I'll be watching along with anybody else.
NFL Network, for those of you that want to tune along.
And then you have to win. There is no scenario. I got this question over the weekend, Ray. There is no scenario where the Colts can only win one game.
Correct.
And get in. They have to win their final two.
The Colts have to win both. The Texans have to lose both, which again, Colts-Texans, Week 18. And the Texans going to the Chargers, they are 11-4.
Yeah.
And Aaron and Emmett, who were filling in for the Unsportsmanlike crew before us, made a very valid point. The Chargers are like the quietest 11-4 team ever. And much like the Niners, they went through their injury stretch early in the season.
Yeah.
Compared to the Colts, who are obviously, going through that now. So that part of it is not that far-fetched in terms of the Texans losing both. Given how the Colts have been playing, it may seem more far-fetched. The Colts win both against the Jaguars here, and then again going to play the Houston Texans. But there are other games that have to fall the Colts' way next week, and frankly, I don't think we know what those games are until you kind of see what the strength of victory tiebreaker would be.
Boy.
And so here is the reason why there is not an E next to the Indianapolis Colts name right now. And that is that if the Colts win both and the Texans lose both, they would finish identical in terms of conference record, head-to-head, divisional record. They would all be the same. And I think their combination of wins would be identical in terms of their divisional opponents. So now it goes to the winning percentage of the teams that you beat. And this is where the Colts are helped by the fact they own wins against the Broncos and the Chargers. Those are good things for the Indianapolis Colts. I saw someplace where it comes down to the Vegas-Kansas City game, which probably is the least meaningful game that'll be played next week because those two teams have a combined 8 wins right now. But yet, that possibly could have an impact on the final playoff spot and the 7th seed in the AFC.
So we broke this down in The Athletic. If you're looking for a Cliff Notes version of what we just talked about and what you need to happen for the Colts when it comes to this strength of victory, which right now the Colts' strength of victory is 383, whereas Houston's is 433. And more or less, you need the teams that you have already beaten to, in a sense, you must have a Rake, help me out if I'm messing this up, because I feel like I'm getting confused already. You need to beat the teams, or have the teams that you've already beat
win.
Continue to win.
Yep.
So your strength, so your victory looks better.
Right, correct.
So, for example, you beat, or you were close to beating the Rams. You were close to beating the Rams in week 4. That didn't happen. So you need them to lose.
Right.
Monday Night Football, you need the Falcons to beat the Rams. You need the Broncos to beat the Chiefs. You know, which that did not happen. You need the Dolphins to, well, that might not happen. You need the Dolphins to beat the Buccaneers. Like, these are things that are possible, but still, I wouldn't say they're likely. I mean, they're possible, but boy, you need a lot of things to break your way.
Not to go all coach on you. Control what you can control.
Yeah.
Watch the Chargers-Texans game tomorrow.
I was going to say, can you control that? Can you control that enough?
No, but at least that is a more simple scenario, understandable. If the Chargers win that game, the Colts have a chance.
You got some gas.
If the Colts beat the Jaguars, which for as historically bad as the Colts have been in Jacksonville, frankly, Jacksonville has not been overly successful in this building.
No.
Give yourself an opportunity. And then we can get out here and count fingers and toes next week and go, all right, this is exactly – there was a chance, and maybe it was that 2015 season I referenced where the Colts had Lindley and Freeman leaning into it. There was like if a 6-game parlay went the right way, the Colts would have gotten a playoff spot. And like the first 4 of those things hit, and finally one of those things, it was a similar scenario 10 years ago as it is now. So there's that.
I will say this. It was crazy to hear Philip, and Caleb, you might have caught this after the game, when someone asked him, okay, you said you had less odds of making the playoffs than this one, or had similar odds.
He had it queued up, didn't he?
And he just went off about, I think it was 2008. It might have been the year.
You want me to explain it to you since I was around for
it? Was this the Billy Volek year?
No, that was the year after. So Billy freaking Volek won the last game ever played at the RCA Dome. That was in January of 2008 after the 2007 season. That was the year the Patriots went undefeated to the Super Bowl. The Colts went 12-4, but the Colts were undefeated until the Patriots were here. And then the Colts got beat by the Chargers to close out that building. 2008, the Chargers were 4-8 and then won their last 4 games. The Colts were 3-4 because Peyton Manning was hurt, missed all of training camp, did not miss a game. But I vividly remember a Monday Night Football game where the Titans, I think, were unbeaten, beat the Colts on Monday Night Football. It was like, okay, there's the passing of the torch moment. Okay, this has been a great 5 or 6 year run for the Colts. They're going to, other than Peyton, they're going to flip the roster. We're all moving on. Colts then won 9 consecutive games, and then got to 12-4, but they had lost the division. So as the 5 seed, they went to the San Diego Chargers at 8-8, and the Chargers beat them. That was the game where Darren Sproles went off, and that was the game where Mike Cypress had this amazing game as a punter. So it was the special teams game that beat the Indianapolis Colts.
Boy, is that one that still hurts Uncle Mo? Shout out to Uncle Mo.
He may get mad at me for revealing this on these airwaves, but I think during that game, he threw his bowl of popcorn and it broke. He was that upset. So, I mean, we'll see if he gets upset at me revealing that. But, yeah, no, he was upset. And I think, actually, Greg, I don't know if it was the next year or the year after, the Chargers had, like, the #1 offense and #1 defense in the league, but their special teams was so bad that I think they missed the playoffs the year after that in 09-10. And so, like, Phillip Rivers been a part of some weird teams. And I think he's notorious for his Charger career having the ball with, like, 15 seconds remaining at his own 20-yard line with no timeouts, having the length of the field, kind of like that Seattle situation. Like, that is Phillip Rivers to me for his entire career.
Dadgummit.
That's a good point you just made, and it's certainly something to think about. And for those listening, shout out Mo Zuver, the father of Caleb Zuver. I call him Uncle Mo because he ran the 5K with us and was moving and grooving, I must say. Your dad actually did reach out to me too, Caleb, asking like, hey, you mentioned something on the show about what your dad told you for advice, looking for stuff for our high school team. And I was like, well, My dad was never a high school coach, but he definitely told me, Rake, to not be a sorry human being. So
there's that. Yeah,
a couple of things stuck.
You
with
got
me.
that going for you.
A couple of things stuck. I'll say this. So, and shout out to our text line. Feel free to weigh in if you want to, give us your reaction.
I don't get the text line, by the way, so it goes straight to James.
Yeah, so
James
I'm
has
hogging
to
it
read
all.
this to me.
I got the monopoly
As
here.
a substitute teacher, you have to tweet me or if you have my own personal cell phone, text me. Then I'll read your text then.
So this is an interesting concept or question from Alex here on the text line. He said, hello, guys. I get the entire thing of not having 2 firsts for the next 2 years, but are we really going to commit $30 to $50 million to Daniel Jones when he couldn't win us a game that were on his shoulders? The KC game, the Steelers, the Texans. And this is from Alex. So this is where I think my offseason calculations have changed a lot, because I went into it before the fractured fibula and obviously the Achilles tear.
Right.
I was thinking, is the franchise tag something you would use on Daniel Jones just to try to negotiate with them? Do you give him the franchise tag because you're like, you know what? You had one good year.
But
we want to
that's
see
1
more.
year and $40 million, right?
Exactly.
Right. And again, I don't think you have to pay that rate.
Exactly. But now that the injuries happen, you definitely don't.
I do think there is a bargain. There's kind of a bargain bin feeling to this now. And my guess would be is that you are offering Daniel Jones a 2-year contract. And year number 2 is worth more than year number 1. And year number 2 has an option to it. And maybe even going in both directions has an option to it.
Ooh, okay.
Because I would imagine that you've offered him a little bit more than you offered him this year, which was 1 year, $14 million.
Yep.
To be the quarterback this year. My estimation would be is that it's a little bit more than that for the first year, a little bit more than that for the second year, almost as, hey, the first year's an insurance policy. We're going to give you a similar rate, a little bit more than what you made this year to allow you to rehab, get stronger, et cetera. And then we'll have an option for year number 2. And then at that point in time, either A, the Colts know they can go the first-round pick for a quarterback option, or you got your guy, sign him to kind of his last long-term deal, and that's the way you go. But to me, JB, of all the Colts free agents, and if you want to get that list ready, feel free, there are 2 guys that I feel differently about than anybody else. Again, through circumstance, what we saw of him on the field, and frankly, how everybody in the locker room feels good about Daniel Jones. He is very well liked. He is very much respected. In other words, your quarterback feels like the leader of the locker room, and that's a good thing, okay? So he's one. But to me, the biggest priority in free agency that you have is Alec Pierce. And let's do some real talk here, JB, all right? Going into the season, the overwhelming opinion for those of us that, and frankly, you have better connections on this than I do, because that's your job, cultivating as a reporter those connections. So you probably know the conversation direction this is heading. That it was thought Alec has gotten to the point where he's so good the Colts aren't going to bring him back. In other words, the Colts, and at the time, had A.D. Mitchell.
Yep.
And you draft A.D. Mitchell with the idea of he is your insurance policy for Michael Pittman. He's your insurance policy for Alec Pierce. He's your insurance policy for Josh Downs. Pierce has gotten so good that now he is the guy that you want to invest as your number 1 receiver going forward. And you kind of end the debate or discussion about Pitt being a number 1. No, Pierce is your number 1, Pitt your number 2, Downs is your slot guy. You go, I like that combination. And so to me, and I want to say the Colts have about $50 million in cap space to work with, and this is the one bit of upside about not having a number 1 draft pick. You get a little more money to work with in free agency.
That is true.
But to me, it is, I'm figuring out exactly what makes Daniel Jones feel good about a 1 to 2 year deal to come back. And then trying to figure out what the market bears out for Alec Pierce and offering him a 3 or 4 year deal. And everything else, in terms of any other free agents, is if I can get you at my price, great. And if not, thank you for what you've done for this team. We're going to go in a different direction. That simple.
So, Rick, this is the point that I was alluding to, and I think you kind of hit it there as well. Going into perhaps the second month of the season, I was thinking, boy, the franchise tag might be something you want to use for Daniel Jones, because at that time,
correct,
after the Steelers game, and even after the Atlanta game, I was like, there's been some slippage.
Yes.
Do you want to franchise tag him? Because he's good enough to certainly be your
guy.
And to
Alex's text, I'm willing to grade the Chiefs and the Texans' performance on a curve because he was playing hurt.
That's what I was going to get to.
And look at that Chiefs game when he has that scramble for a first down, and he's running with my level of speed, getting out, or a Phillip Rivers scramble because he was so slow, and you're like, oh. And so, question marks about the Steelers game, fair. Any question marks about the Falcons game, fair. After that, he was clearly playing as a compromised quarterback. Please continue.
Exactly. So when you look at how his play sort of shifted, that shifted my mindset of like, okay, maybe you franchise tag him. Don't want to commit the Sam Darnold, Baker Mayfield deal, which would have been in 3 years, $100 million.
Right. And just to keep everybody in the loop here, franchise tag is a 1-year contract, and basically you are paid the average of the top 5 yearly salaries at your position. Most understand that, but for those that don't, that's the price range we're talking about here from a franchise tag standpoint, which my guess would be, JB, and you're typing in furiously to look it up now, somewhere in the $40 million range for 1 year, I think is what
it was $46 million, I believe, for the quarterback franchise tag.
You ain't doing that.
And it's fully guaranteed 1 year.
Right, you ain't doing that. Not
so
happening.
That, to me, and before, again, the slippage in play, before the fractured fibula, I was like, man, I get us a lot of money for 1 year, but is it better to be kind of...
I didn't think they were doing that in the first place. They're really not doing that now.
Exactly. But now, I'm looking at that franchise tag like, boy, is that something you would use on Alec Pierce? And I'm not saying this...
Which is probably somewhere in the $30-ish million range.
It's projected to be $28 million.
Okay, yeah.
So... if that is the case, I could see them sort of approaching this rake similar to how they did with Michael Pittman Jr., where it was
franchise tag is a placeholder to get a long-term deal.
Exactly. But we're just not going to let you even have the opportunity to have someone else come court you and get you out of there, because we all know if Alec Pierce were to hit the open market with no franchise tag, he might price himself out of your entire market.
Yeah.
And I think that is an interesting conversation to have, just because Alec has changed the narrative on himself so much. I mean,
but you can validate what I was kind of saying earlier. That the original plan was going to be, hey, it was. There's a lot of Napoleon era traits to how this team operates. And that's not a bad thing. With the idea of, hey, we're going to occasionally draft guys with the idea of you kind of got a year or two to develop, but you're going to be replacing this guy because there's only so much free agency money we can throw around because of the salary cap. And that was the plan for A.D. Mitchell. And then the plan changed.
The plan changed drastically. All the plans have changed for the Colts, it feels like. So
they've changed 9 times over since that plan was made back in September or October.
Yeah, I feel like everything that I've written or said can be used against me at this point.
The past is no longer prologue.
Everything
the past
I've
is
written,
in a different universe.
I swear, Caleb, every day I wake up to somebody like screenshotting something or DMing me like, well, you said this 2 months ago. I'm like, well, things have kind of changed a little bit since then, brother. I'm sorry.
You've been in a ton of Twitter wars recently. I've been following. I've been seeing them.
I'm trying to become a better person.
Why you hating,
but,
JP? Why you hating?
Yeah, it is what it is.
It's the holidays, man.
Let's hit a morning check down, Caleb.
The Morning Checkdown on 93.5 and 107.5 The Fan.
All right, so we've hit a lot of hypotheticals. What do the Colts do if this happens, if that happens? One thing that has happened, at least for the injury report update, is a limited participation. Granted, it wasn't real practice yesterday. It wasn't any practice yesterday, but given the estimated injury report, we had limited participation for Sauce Gardner, and that is significant because he has not played in a few weeks. And if there is ever a time you could use a number one cornerback, it is against this surging Jaguars team.
If Sunday's game means something, and if he is cleared, those oversecting lines then tell you, play him. If Sunday's game means nothing, then Sauce needs to be sat for the remainder of the season. It is that simple. Also, Bernhard Raimann was a full participant at doing nothing yesterday. Just like I was a full participant in overeating for Christmas, Bernhard was a full participant in practice, even though practice didn't actually take place. Got it? Good.
There you go. And so we'll be out there today. And actually, I do think today's practice is very significant for that point. I'll be making sure to actually see with my own 2 eyes who is practicing, what are they doing, what do they look like, and then we'll take it from there. And Shane will tell us everything, after practice anyway, because he always does on Fridays.
And by the way,
it doesn't happen.
Shout out to Jalen Travis. I think he has played well the last couple of weeks. And again, we talk about there's X amount of money available in free agency. And you draft to fill a need a year or two down the line. I would imagine Jalen Travis is your starting right tackle next year. And that what Braden Smith's story has been amazing to come back, and he's had 8 really good years for this franchise, but likely Jalen Travis is your starting right tackle next year. So you've seen some of that work in progress for next year already start to kick in.
Exactly. So we'll pivot to more NFL action yesterday. Yes, Caleb, I lied to you. I said I wasn't going to watch any of those bad football games, but boy.
You disgust me, James.
I am a degenerate, so I can't help it. I had to tune in to see what would happen just because it's the NFL, man. They've hijacked Christmas, and I am,
I had to pull up my laptop for my father-in-law because I just generically put on ESPN knowing I'd hit 5 straight NBA games if I did, and that was kind of the background noise.
Okay.
What about the football game? Hang on, buddy. Netflix. Wife, what's Netflix account? Here's your laptop. Enjoy. Here's a beverage. You enjoy the game.
There you go.
And after about 3 quarters, he's like, this is garbage. And he walked away.
I know. The slate this year, in theory, was supposed to be very good, but it was not. We had the Cowboys knock off the Commanders 30-23. The Vikings took down the Lions, a surprising win for them because the Vikings have no quarterbacks.
The importance of that game is that the Lions have now been officially eliminated from playoff consideration. And in that game, there were 6 turnovers, 5 sacks. The Vikings had credit for 3 yards passing once you take the sack yardage out of the passing total, and the Vikings still won that game 23-10.
That lets you know that things got pretty bleak for the Lions, and honestly, it speaks to what their coach said, Dan Campbell, a couple years ago, like this might have been our only shot.
Yeah.
And it looks like it was at this point. And then they had the nightcap with the Broncos and the Chiefs. Again, that matchup way back when they made the schedule seemed like it would be great. You'd be looking at 2 teams probably duking it out for the number 1 seed in their division.
I literally don't know how to pronounce the quarterbacks. Is it Oladokin? Is it Oladikin?
I still don't know where he went to
school.
Is
it not Patrick Mahomes? Not Gardner Minshew?
Former Colts legend. Gardner Minshew.
And so the Broncos keep winning. Obviously, they didn't win on Sunday. Sunday, the Jaguars got them, but they're only lost since September. But, man, the Broncos lead the league in ugly wins, don't they?
Yes, they
Bo
do.
Nix had 182 yards passing. And, again, you won the game. They're right now the number 1 seed. So I'm not trying to, cast stones, being a guy that works for the team that's probably not going to be a playoff team. But those things tend to average out. If not this year, they average out in future years when you win a lot of ugly games, close games, et cetera, as we saw from the Chiefs here in 2025.
That is true. And then taking a look on the NBA side of things, the Pacers will actually be back in action tonight at Gainbridge Fieldhouse against the Boston Celtics. They have lost a number of games in a row at this point. I believe Rick Carlisle is still stuck on win 999. So he needs one more for 1,000. Perhaps they'll get that done tonight against Boston. They were up big on Boston.
Didn't they just play the Celtics?
Yes, they were up big on Boston, blew it in Boston, and that's typically what has happened this year for the Pacers. They have had some rough stretches here. But one positive, I would say, from what we saw recently, before this Milwaukee Bucks game, I believe we saw the first on-court workout publicly
that is correct.
For Tyrese Halliburton and his Achilles recovery. So it was just good to see him back out there. I think I put out something on social media like the world is healing, and it was just good to see that dude out there playing in some capacity because we know Tyrese is really hurting right now because he wants to be out there so bad with his team.
Do you think we unify the mega powers? Do you think Daniel Jones and Tyrese Halliburton start working out together to rehab their Achilles simultaneously?
They did have the
like
same surgeon.
Like the Macho Man and Hulk Hogan coming together.
They had the same surgeon, so I wouldn't put it past them. I will say, though, boy, I need to knock on some wood here. No more Achilles tears this calendar year, please. Or how about ever in this city? Rounding out the NBA coverage, Knicks knocked off the Cavaliers in the first game yesterday. The Spurs knocked off the Thunder. The Spurs have had the Thunder's number as of late. They're looking really good. The Warriors beat the Mavericks. The Rockets blow out the Lakers. The Lakers, as you pointed out earlier, Rake, only team yesterday to not score 100 points in an NBA game, which seems impossible these days. And then the nightcap, in overtime, the Nuggets take care of the Timberwolves 142-138. Nikola Jokic has one of the greatest stat lines you will ever see. 56, 16, and 15. Ho-hum for that guy.
The other point from yesterday, I thought this was a gag, but maybe it wasn't. Did Shaq fall through that board on purpose?
Yes, he had to. There was a cushion back there.
There's no way. There's no way.
Were they getting a new board for that show? Was that like Turner's way of gigging ESPN for more money?
Maybe.
How'd that work out?
I could see that.
They roll with that board the entire day. Like I saw that happen early in the day and came back and I'm like, wait a minute, they haven't fixed it yet. Clearly, I was wrong.
It's crazy.
Yeah.
How did they pull that off too? They really made it seem like if it's fake.
The fact that they sold that all day is why I'm asking that question.
It's a good question.
Boy, I do enjoy having them back. I was confused at first about how that would all break down or how that would all play out, but it is good to have those guys back in the saddle as they should be. One of the best, I think, sports shows for all reasons that are not sports because none of them know what they're talking about outside of Ernie and maybe Kenny. The rest of them, Shaq and Chuck, I don't know if they know too much about the current state of NBA basketball, but they're entertaining.
I even listened to some Shaq Diesel while I was sitting outside last night as a nod to Shaq taking one for the team and projecting himself through a video board yesterday. I'm outstanding. Some of his better work, by the way.
You gotta love it. Gotta love it. So we'll hit a break here. We'll check back in with you all on the other side of it. Thank you all for sticking with us the day after Christmas. And if you still got presents to open, make sure you're enjoying that and leaving cookies out there for Santa as well.
It's BullseyeEventGroup.com, the Colts VIP tailgate presented by Hayes & Sons Restoration. Your Colts game day experience, the best it can be. Log on and get your passes now. BullseyeEventGroup.com.
Career changers, including veterans and active duty service members. Your transition starts here. Go from GI to IT in a matter of months. Become a certified cyber warrior with training at My Computer Career. Cybersecurity specialists are in high demand, offering IT pros great opportunities and a rewarding lifestyle while protecting our people, liberty, and treasured institutions from cyber threats. Deploy your career in IT today at mycomputercareer.edu/CWP, an elite CompTIA certification partner.
VA education benefits are available to those who qualify.
This is Chris with Absolute Comfort. We just want to thank you and your family for business that you passed to us this year. Our families appreciate everything that you do for us, and we just want to let you know that if you have needs for your man cave or your she shed or whatever the thing is for a family member that you love, we just ask that you give us a call, and we've got some different ideas for you. Have a Merry Christmas.
Absolute Comfort is your Mitsubishi Electric Elite ductless pro dealer.
If you or someone you know needs help putting food on the table, that help is closer than you think. The Fan cares. We've partnered with local food banks and organizations to provide resources for those who need them. Just go to 1075thefan.com and look for the banner that says Find Free Food Near You. You'll find a link to Community Compass with an up-to-date and interactive map that shows locations, days, and times for you to collect food at no cost, as well as other resources to help you through this challenging time. Find community help now at 1075thefan.com. JMV here, and guys, you've heard of TRT, but you have no idea what testosterone can do for you. Once you start treatment, you'll wish you had done it sooner. Now you can take the TRT test for free at Center Gen X and Low T Center. Walk in before 10 a.m. or book ahead at FixMyLowT.com. The place for guys to go is Center Gen X and Low T Center for TRT. The TRT test is free, not hundreds of dollars. The testosterone is pure, not compounded. Guys feel full of energy, not like they're still waiting for it to kick in. Get in now for your free TRT test. No appointment necessary before 10 a.m. or book ahead at FixMyLowT.com. Guys, you're going to wish you had started TRT sooner. Don't you just want to know your level? Find out with the free TRT test at Center Gen X and Low T Center. Walk in before 10 a.m. or book ahead at FixMyLowT.com. That's FixMyLowT.com. Center Gen X and Low T Center. Get that free T test today. FixMyLowT.com.
We all hear the radio ads about the IRS. They tell you to be afraid, to be scared, and they try to frighten you into calling. I'm not here to do that. Tax Relief Advocates is different. TRA is here to tell you that if you owe money to the IRS, whether it's $5,000, $50,000, or $500,000, we have a solution. It doesn't matter if you're sitting in your car, at work, or with your kids. No matter where you are, call now. 800-575-6759. Don't lose hope. TRA can eliminate or reduce what you owe to the IRS.
Generous programs are now available that can give you a fresh start.
Our passion is taxes and helping individuals fix their IRS problems.
We have over 1,000 5-star reviews on Google and an A+ with the Better Business Bureau.
You don't need to be afraid of the IRS any longer. End your tax nightmare today by visiting us online at TRA.com or call 800-575-6759. That's 800-575-6759. Tax Relief Advocates. Real solutions for real people.
You're listening to the Fan Morning Show on Sports Radio 93.5 and 107.5.
All right, youngin. This is who?
It has to be Shaq. Shaquille O'Neal, and I'll say this.
Who is the group that he is with? Who is his favorite group?
I have no idea about that.
Got to be careful how you say this, okay? Fushnickens, all right?
Fushnickens.
It's spelled F-U. Fushnickens, yes.
So,
well, let Caleb, let that go. Unless he's swearing at it. You can bring that back up a little bit. There you go. We can talk over this. Shaq goes on and performs. Again, this will age everybody involved. On the Arsenio Hall Show.
Oh, boy, yeah.
He was a rookie.
You said you were listening to this last night, Greg?
I was listening. No, I was listening to this too. I was listening to my favorite Shaq track is his own song where he's not with Fushnickens. Is I'm Outstanding. Absolutely, yeah. No.
Noted.
Yeah. And you know about that time, Shaq was filming Blue Chips here in Frankfort, Indiana. Are you aware of this, James?
I was aware that this was filmed in Indiana. I feel like every basketball movie that I've probably watched at this point,
probably a good thing.
If you give me a guess, I'm going to say Indiana at this point.
So Western University was actually UCLA, and that makes sense. The only parts of the movie, other than stuff that was filmed in and around French Lick, involving Larry Bird or Ricky Rowe, a.k.a. Matt Nover, IU basketball. His son now plays at Carmel. But the Dolphin Dome is Case Arena at Frankfort High School. Have you been there to cover a game or as part of your basketball journey? Have you been to a game at Case Arena?
Is this the one with the hot dogs or no?
Frankfurt hot dogs, yes. That's Case Arena.
I did go there last year because I believe it was Warsaw girls versus HSC.
Yes, semi-state, correct.
And that was a great game.
Now, but when you walked in, and by the way, Warsaw girls were fantastic Monday in the Hall of Fame Classic and running clocked both of their opponents, which doesn't happen.
That's rare.
At an event like that. But they have now done that to 7 of their last. They are crushing people. I think they do have 1 loss on the season. But when you walk into Case at Frankfurt, they have a wonderful Hall of Fame display as to all the greats that have played in that program, the history that's taken place there. And there's a really cool display involving the Western University Dolphins. And 2 years ago, they had a 30th anniversary night of the filming where they put the Dolphin down, they put the decals on the floor to replicate Western University, and Frankfurt wore Western gear for one night.
That's cool.
And they invited people back. Shaq could not make it. But what did he do? He bought brand new shoes for, I think, both teams.
Wow.
Basically to have new kicks for playing in that game. Yeah.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
So
another reason to like Shaq.
I know we'll get back to the football conversation, whether it's the Colts or IU, but I want to actually stick with the high school scene for a second because now you got me down a rabbit hole, Rick.
Yep. It's the day after Christmas. Today is rabbit hole day.
There you go. So we were over at Southport, we being me, JMV, and a couple other guys who get together and play basketball.
How often does John yell short when he shoots the ball?
Oh, boy, every time. And,
right.
and again, for someone who is relatively new to the JMV troll world, when I first started playing with him, I thought it was legitimately short. When he yells short, it's cash. It's going in. So it's like a little bit of an annoyance because he knows that it's not.
Right.
And it's going to go in.
It's kind of like saying JMV sucks. Kind of the same
There
deal.
you go. Yeah. But as we were sitting there in between games, and I think I might have been sitting on the sideline because a couple of those JMV shorts were going in and I was, losing.
One on his team. Got it.
Who is on your short list, and now you've done this for a long time, short list of the best high school basketball player you've seen live in person with your own eyes?
Greg Oden. I mean, he was so so different, and so, and you always refer things kind of back to him. Like last year, Stink Robinson, now the starting point guard at Butler, became the all-time leading scorer at Lawrence North.
Mm-hmm.
And you would say a phrase like, "Listen, if you've scored more than Greg Oden and Mike Conley Jr., who is still getting an NBA paycheck, and for what it's worth, you want to use this as a metric, has made the most money of any NBA player from the state of Indiana. The answer to that trivia question is Mike Conley Jr. has made the most money as an NBA player from the state of Indiana. And then even this week, so on Tuesday at the Hall of Fame, young man named Brandon Hunter, who's a point guard for Silver Creek. Brandon came into the game. Now, they only played 7 games. He had, let's see here, 58 assists on the year. That translates to 9.6 or something along those lines over like his first 6 games. And so I emailed my buddy who runs the Hickory Husker website, because, it's Indiana, Lee Evans. And I go, all right, what's the record for assists in a year? Because this team could play 33 games, and if I can do the math, 33 times 9 is a lot. And the answer to that question is Mike Conley Jr. has the state record for assists. Guess who he was throwing the ball to on most of those assists? Greg Oden. So Mike had 290 assists in a single season at Lawrence North.
Boy.
LN is, as Conley and Oden are freshmen, if Greg Oden makes more free throws as a freshman, they beat an unbeaten Pike team in the regional. A Pike team that go on to not lose a game the entire season, but that LN team probably would have won 4 consecutive championships if Greg was a better free throw shooter as a freshman. So the answer to your question doesn't take long. Okay, I'm 4 years younger than Damon Bailey. I was at the state finals. He won in 90. There has not been a storyline that was capped off in the same fashion that Damon Bailey was.
Yeah.
I'm not sure there has been a phenomenon, because now you explode social media into the mix, like Romeo Langford was, who did win a state championship as a sophomore when Rondale Moore was his teammate at New Albany, not to mention Sean East, who I think has played college basketball for 37 years at this point. But the single best player in my time of doing this is Greg Oden.
There you go. All right. Well, I appreciate that answer, because we were debating it. We were even going into the girls' side for a little bit as well. And I was like, man, there are some names. And when I had a chance to visit the Indiana Basketball Hall of Fame, which I've been to a few times at this point, you start to read the little tabs of all the people who have come before.
Mm-hmm, yeah.
And you realize the resumes are just incredible.
Right.
Like, this isn't just a Larry Bird thing. Like, no, these people can really, really play basketball. And a lot of them have resumes that are just impeccable. I mean, Stephanie White.
Right.
She's someone who's also a legend as well.
Set the state record in scoring as a senior at Seeger High School. Yep.
Boy, I can only imagine how the Damon Bailey crowds looked.
I was one of the 40,000.
For a high school game, that's crazy. I thought we had a great turnout for the 4A game this past year for boys.
Yeah.
And that was like, what, 16,000, 17,000?
So growing up in the area in which, not just the era, but the area where Damon played, what you would do is you would check your schedule, because you were going to all 20 of your team's games, whether you're 18-2 or 2 or 18. And then you would go, okay, what are the dates that we're not playing that Bedford North Lawrence is? Okay, now where do I think I can get tickets to go watch him play?
You can't just go on your phone?
Right. So it wasn't like that back in 89, son. What wasn't the way that it worked. You had those little pocket schedules from your bank, or you had Hoosier Basketball Magazine when it came out back in November, and that was your Bible, and you carried that around with you. So you had the answers to this question. Since the internet, Al Gore had invented it by that point in time, but it wasn't exactly available, for home distribution until about 5 or 6 years later. So you would go, okay, this is where BNL is playing. Where do I think I can get tickets? And usually you couldn't. So the option that I had to see him during the regular season, his senior year, which was also Eric Montross' senior year, God rest his soul, Bedford North Lawrence, Lawrence North, Pike, and Newcastle were the teams that played in the Hall of Fame Classic. But this was right before the Hall of Fame that you were just in the other day was finished in Newcastle, which was 90 or 91 is when that building was completed. So back then, the Hall of Fame Classic actually moved around. Well, in Damon's senior year, what better place to have it than Assembly Hall? And so that's where I had a chance to watch Bedford North Lawrence and Lawrence North playing the championship game, Damon Bailey versus Eric Montross. You know who the best player on the floor was? Dude named Eddie Cassiano, who played for the Puerto Rican national team that played at Lawrence North, ended up playing at UAB.
Boy.
That night, he was the best player on the
See,
floor.
this is why Rake is on the panel or the board of the Hall of Fame here in Indiana.
You did
Basketball
see
Hall of
my
Fame.
name tag on as a board member of the Hall. It was the
is
first.
true.
I have done broadcasts with credentials before. I've never done a broadcast with a name tag on before, but since I'm on the board, yes, I felt, if you had a Hall of Fame question, I would be able to answer it for you.
There you go.
At least while I was not, actually doing a broadcast on Tuesday.
James, us non-Hoosiers are getting a crash course right now.
Hey, look,
this is
I'm learning.
special.
I'm still I feel like people keep telling me oh, you're an honorary Hoosier at this point. There's always more you can learn.
You are.
There's always more you can learn.
Google gobble, you are one of us at this point, Jay.
So we'll take a break here. We'll get back into the professional side of things. Thank you all for sticking with us the day after Christmas. Hope you all are enjoying the time off. If you're off with your family, and if you're back at work grinding, thanks for listening.
Xfinity is the network you can rely on. Like a close friend who will give it to you straight. The friend who will tell you that new haircut, it's not great. Friends make sure friends get good haircuts. And Xfinity makes sure you get a good deal on Wi-Fi. Xfinity gives you reliable fiber-powered Wi-Fi at our best price. This holiday season through January 4th, get gig speed Wi-Fi for just $50 a month for 5 whole years. No strings, no commitments. Just super fast, reliable gig speed Wi-Fi with our best equipment and unlimited data included. Save yourself from questionable decisions and save over Verizon and AT&T. Xfinity, imagine that. Restrictions apply. Requires paperless billing and autopay with stored bank account. Taxes and fees extra. Xfinity Internet powered by fiber and connected to premises by coaxial cable. Actual speeds vary.
Hey everyone, it's Jake from Payless Liquors. Charlie said so stop by one of our 26 family-owned locations and stock up with these great deals. Woodford Fist for $29.99, Maker's Mark 101 Fist for $26.99, Mich Ultra 18 packs for $23.99, and Jack Daniel's Fist for $19.99. Get Bud Light 16-ounce 12 packs for $13.99, Kim Crawford Sauv Blanc for $13.99, Corbel Brut for just $11.99, and Martini and Rossi Asti for $10.99. Why pay more when you can pay less here at Payless Liquors?
Hey, it's JMV for the best in realty. Mark Dietel, Mark Dietel Realty, 317-755-4232. Again, that number, 317-755-4232. MarkDietel.com, MarkDietel.com today. So Neil in Indianapolis had already moved, listed his old house with an agent friend for about 60 days. Not happy, decided to evaluate the Mark Dietel marketing plan and switched. To his relief, after about 15 days on the market, the Mark Dietel team sold his home as is for the price that was necessary. Mark Dietel, the only real estate expert I trust and recommend with the sale of my home. Mark Dietel guarantees your home sold at a mutually agreed upon price and deadline, or he will buy it. Pick your move date. There are no long-term contracts, and you can cancel at any time. That's Mark Dietel. Mark Dietel Realty, 317-755-4232. MarkDietel.com. That's MarkDietel.com.
Lose
today.
weight or stop smoking with hypnosis, guaranteed or your money back. Only $59.99. Destroy unwanted cravings, late night eating binges, boredom eating, stress eating. Also destroy your desire to smoke without cravings, irritability, or weight gain, or your money back. Hypnosis January 29th at the Holiday Inn Express and Suites in Noblesville. Weight loss at 5:30 p.m. Stop smoking at 8. And January 31st at the Holiday Inn Indianapolis Airport. Weight loss 11 a.m. Stop smoking at 2. Register at markpatrickseminars.com.
Dan owed an unbelievable amount of money to the IRS.
I got behind on my taxes. It's a horrible feeling.
He was in denial.
And when I got those letters from the IRS, you wanted to act like they didn't exist.
Finally, Dan turned to Optima Tax Relief, the leading tax resolution firm. A-plus rated by the Better Business Bureau, they've resolved over $1 billion for their clients.
Optima got me a settlement with the IRS. These people are really people-friendly. It was every bit of a new lease on life for me.
The fast action and the great results made Dan's head spin.
I felt like I was in a dream, but it's real, and I have paperwork to prove it. They got the job done, and life is good.
For tax help you can trust, call Optima now for a free consultation.
If you're worried about what's going to happen with the IRS, stop worrying. Make the call now.
Call 800-354-2840. 800-354-2840. 800-354-2840.
Optima Tax Relief.
Testimonial from an actual client. Some restrictions apply. For complete details, please visit OptimaTaxRelief.com.
Hey, fans! Welcome back to Fansville's Cheers and Tears. Oh. Okay, so like everybody deals with losing, right? To a rival on a last-second field goal. Whatever, it's fine. I'm totally fine. But I cope with losing with an ice-cold Dr. Pepper. Those 23 flavors are like so delicious. They totally wash away the pain of your college football team taking a big fat L. College football. It's a pepper
My
thing.
name is Whitney Allen. I am a widow. My husband Ryan died. We never thought in a million years we'd have to use life insurance. The unexpected happened. With Ethos, it is so fast and easy. It's 100% online. You can get a quote in seconds, apply in minutes, and get same-day coverage. No medical exams, and you can get up to $3 million worth of coverage through Ethos.
Get your free quote at ethos.com/game. That's ETHOS.com/game.
Time spent on application may vary. Online health questions required.
Hey, it's JMV. Fall's the time when the rain hits, the ground shifts, and tree roots start tearing into those old clay or PVC lines. Got holiday guests coming over? That extra water use doesn't help either. LD Smith Plumbing can handle it all, from sump pumps to backups to leaks big and small. Call LD Smith Plumbing today. The local pros that I trust. Online, ldsmithplumbing.com.
LD Smith Plumbing.
A dirty, stinking honest.
The Colts look for revenge as they host the Jacksonville Jaguars. Coverage Sunday morning at 9 on 93.5 and 107.5 The Fan.
You're listening to the Fan Morning Show on Sports Radio 93.5 and 107.5 The Fan.
Feel like Caleb certainly is setting the mood here on this Friday, giving us the good vibe, getting the body grooving. Thank you all for listening, tuning into the Fan Morning Show here on 107.5 The Fan.
He's catering to the old man compared to the other two dudes he's working with today.
There you go. And that is the voice of the legendary Greg Rakestraw.
Now, I'm not old to the normal guy that is conducting the ones and twos here, even though he's in much better shape than me. Rickard has me by a handful of years. But if we played this music to Rickard, he'd be so lost.
I think you know, it's a little bit, not his era, but he's out right now. We have Kevin Bowen out as well, Mark Dykton out as well.
I could have picked up. Kevin lives like 6 blocks from me.
Were you tempted to like knock on the door this morning and be like, "Hey man, you want carpool a little bit?"
He's got this unique round-up house in that he's like his garage and driveway are behind his house, like attached to an alley.
Oh,
and so like. It would create a lot of work for me to actually have to get out the car, walk up a slight hill, and knock on his door. Plus, as much grief as I would give KB, he and his wife do have a newborn. So I'm like, I'm not going to go disrupt, family sleeping in and enjoying a little holiday time.
I told him to call Uncle JB if he needs a break. He never did. So, I mean, I feel offended.
Once you get to kid 3, man, it's like, difference in kid 1 and kid 2. And again, you'll be there at some point in time.
Some point in time.
Right.
No time soon.
I didn't have kids in my mid-30s, so you'll be there at some point in time.
I'm glad you said that, Rake. You know, mama boy, you ain't got to keep asking all these questions, about how serious I'm going to be. I ain't serious just yet.
You get a lot of those questions over the holidays, James.
Honestly, I get a couple of them. My parents are already, they're like, boy, we don't sit down.
My wife and I were so late in terms of having kids. When we sat my mom and dad down to tell them we were finally having a baby, I think they thought we were sitting down telling them we were getting divorced. I think that was the mental preparation they had in their mind when we finally broke it down. No, I figured out what I was doing. Amy's pregnant now. Congrats. Yay, us.
That's hilarious. So to put a button on our conversation from earlier, I had a couple of people text the fan text line saying Sean Kemp was one of their best high school players they've ever seen. But as far as the high school scene goes, the Colts currently have a high school coach as their quarterback, Phillip Rivers. Again, I thought that he looked better in the second game back.
Significantly.
After the nearly 5-year layoff. Took a couple hits, had the pick 6 late, but for 75% of that game against the 49ers, he was not just good for his age, in my opinion, Rake. He was good.
He had an average NFL quarterbacking line.
There you go.
And I mean that as the highest form of a compliment. Because it was 23 of 35, 277, 2 touchdowns and a pick, right? Somewhere in that range. I mean, when Daniel Jones was cruising early in the year, that's a similar stat line to what he would have. Again, folks, if you extrapolate 275 over 17 games, talking about like a 4,700-yard passer for the course of the season. You'd be like, all right, you don't have 15 picks in a year, but you get the idea. A man that had not played in 59 months, a man that was 44 years of age, had a normal, average NFL game at quarterback. That is remarkable. It has gotten to the point, I'm not saying he is your starting quarterback or anybody's starting quarterback next year in the National Football League. But let's say he couldn't think about doing this again next year for another team. If he really wants to coach high school football, let's get him a job at Cardinal Ritter or something like that. No offense to the current coach at Ritter. Okay, I'm not calling for your job on a morning show. But let's find Philip a coaching job someplace in Indianapolis where he can kind of sneak him over to the practice facility every now and again, and he could be the second string or the third string quarterback for this team next year.
You know what? Speaking of high school, I need to be asking him about his son, Gunner. Is IU on the trail here? Do we have a pipeline? I mean, I do remember, or not remember, I do know that his position coach, I believe, at NC State was Kurt Cignetti. So could that be a connection there to be like, hey, by the way, Kurt, I got a son. You know how I got down. My son, he throw the rock just like me. You know, let's look at the succession plan for Fernando Mendoza and company.
Nothing against Uncle Phil, all right? I hope his son throws the ball a little differently than Phil does.
You know what's crazy? They actually do throw it almost exactly.
Of course he does.
Yeah.
That's where he learned. But I hope he processes the game like his dad does. I would hope that maybe he actually has some shoulder rotation. Not that I'm some quarterback expert, but actually throws a bit of a spiral instead of more of a three-quarter shot put. Yes.
Yeah. It's worked well for Phillip Rivers. But I do think when we look at his play, he has taken a step forward. Can the rest of the team do that around him? And can they have a complete game? Because you're looking at these Colts performances and you're always wanting to look at one area and say, we need a little bit more here.
This is a give a insert word here game is what this is.
Yeah.
And again, it's two different things depending on what happens tomorrow at 4:30. All right?
Yep.
If the Texans come out and beat the Chargers, then all bets are off and you kind of shrug your shoulders and Sunday just kind of happens and you're looking at guys playing for the love of the game like Phillip Rivers or guys that know, hey, I might be playing my last home game here with the Indianapolis Colts, whatever the case may be. But if you have a playoff berth on the line to keep your season alive, how you perform on Sunday says a lot about you as an individual. And so that's really what we're going to see on Sunday afternoon is your give-up blank factor high. That's what we're going to find out about this football team. Doesn't mean it has to be perfect, but that's what it boils down to.
Yes, and I do think the way this game plays out and the rest of the season, for that matter, will determine the bigger picture questions. I know a lot of people keep texting into our text line or the YouTube chat or just in general in real life, having those conversations about the Colts. It's like, what do you do with the GM? What do you do with the head coach? What do you do at quarterback? Those are the three pillars of any NFL franchise. And right now, all of that, I would say, is in flux when it comes to the Colts and your decisions that you have to make, because it's not, in my opinion, a very easy decision to just, go all the way one way or all the way the other.
How crazy is it? And maybe it's a true sign of where the franchise is. What seems to be the simplest decision as to who's back next year is the guy that suffered the torn Achilles a month ago.
Boy, isn't that something? That's a great perspective to kind of put this in. I hadn't thought of it like that, Ray, but you ain't lying, brother.
And again, part of it is circumstances that surround.
Yeah.
And again, if we're having a conversation, if there's a number one draft pick involved this year, then maybe you go, all right, let's just hit the nuclear option, reset, knowing you're going to get a mid-first round pick, but you'll go to quarterback there and just
go from there.
Everybody out and it's but because you don't have that, and because the initial reports on his recovery were 6 to 8 months and not 9 to 12 months, and that timeline goes around training camp in August, and you go, all right, that's the guy you feel most certain about is the guy that just popped his Achilles in a game on December the 7th.
Yeah, and this isn't really insider information here, but I have been told he's obviously pushing to be available as soon as he's medically
Dude played
cleared.
On a busted leg.
Exactly. So for those thinking this is going to be a super long rehab? It could be, but at the same time, Daniel Jones and timelines, he ain't trying to hear what the doctor's telling him about. Oh, it could be on the longer side. No, he expects to be ready to go by week 1 of next year.
After this year, James, there's things you can question about Daniel Jones. Kid's heart or toughness is not one of them.
Yeah,
not one of them. That, and again, by all accounts, by what everybody else says about him, and again, you see facial expressions because you're there. Everybody in that room believes in Daniel Jones and respects Daniel Jones. From an intangible standpoint, he's the quarterback you want. He's the guy you want.
There you go. So we'll take a quick break here. Check back in on the other side. This is the Fan Morning Show, the day after Christmas. Thank you all for listening.
It's BullseyeEventGroup.com, the Colts VIP tailgate presented by Hayes & Sons Restoration. Your Colts game day experience the best it can be. Log on and get your passes now. BullseyeEventGroup.com.
Do you need heating service and want to find a dealer you can trust in Boone and Hamilton County like Jim's Heating and Air Conditioning? Just go to IndyHomeComfort.com.
The Fan cares, and if you or someone you care about needs food assistance, we have resources for you, including food distribution locations with an interactive map. Also, learn how you can make a difference for friends and neighbors in need, all at 1075thefan.com. 1075 The Fan and Franciscan Health present Good for the Heart Fridays. Listen to Jake Query every Friday to hear a heartwarming story from our local community. Jake knows firsthand the importance of heart health. Jake and the Fan have teamed up with Franciscan Health to make a difference, one beat at a time. Good for the Heart Fridays, brought to you by Franciscan Health Heart Center. Learn proactive measures to keep your heart healthy and schedule your heart scan at franciscanhealth.org/screening bundles.
JMV here, and guys, you've heard of TRT, but you have no idea what testosterone can do for you. Once you start treatment, you'll wish you had done it sooner. Now you can take the TRT test for free at Center Gen X and Low T Center. Walk in before 10 a.m. or book ahead at fixmylowt.com. The place for guys to go is Center Gen X and Low T Center for TRT. The TRT test is free, not hundreds of dollars. The testosterone is pure, not compounded. Guys feel full of energy, not like they're still waiting for it to kick in. Get in now for your free TRT test. No appointment necessary before 10 a.m. or book ahead at fixmylowt.com. Guys, you're going to wish you had started TRT sooner. Don't you just want to know your level? Find out with the free TRT test at Center Gen X and Low T Center. Walk in before 10 a.m. or book ahead at fixmylowt.com. That's fixmylowt.com. Center Gen X and Low T Center. Get that free T test today. FixMyLowT.com.
Texting enrolls you in a recurring automated marketing text messages. Consent not required to purchase. Message and data rates may apply.
The team's looking good this season.
I think so. Man, I miss playing football. Ever since I turned 40, I just can't find that fire I used to have.
Think it could be lower testosterone?
What do you mean?
I was feeling the same way. After 40, the body has less testosterone, and men lose their edge. That's why I take Nugenix Total T2.
That's the testosterone booster, right?
Yes, but Total T2 is their brand new formula that skyrockets nitric oxide levels in as little as 3 hours. Since I started taking it, I've been lifting like when we played for Coach Carter. My energy is way up, and it even spiced up things between me and the missus.
Are they still giving out complimentary bottles?
Yep, just send a text.
Text HAWK to 321-321 for your complimentary bottle of Nugenix Total T2, the next generation testosterone booster. Text now and we'll include a bottle of Nugenix Thermo X, our newest, most powerful fat burner ever, absolutely free. Text HAWK to 321-321. That's HAWK to 321-321.
These statements have not been evaluated by the FDA. This product is not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent any disease.
From the DriveHubler.com studios, this is 93.5 and 107.5 The Fan.
WIBC HD2, HD3, Indianapolis.
You're listening to The Fan Morning Show on Sports Radio 93.5 and 107.5 The Fan.
All right, so JB, in your days of covering the Illini, did you have a game at Camp Randall where you could enjoy this song?
I did not have a chance to enjoy this song in person. I'm actually jealous of all the college crowds that actually had good product out there to make you happy.
Sadly, this was the best part of Wisconsin games this past year.
That's a good
was
point.
Jump Around, because the band is known for they'll keep performing, and they call it the fifth quarter. I know these things because my wife actually has a master's degree from Madison, from the University of Wisconsin. And so the band has the fifth quarter. My guess is most fans didn't stay for the fifth quarter this year.
Nah, I don't
They jumped
think
around
so.
and they jumped on out the building and headed on down to State Street Brats and swam in the lake and went to the Union and the Rathskeller, the whole 9 yards.
I went on a college visit to Wisconsin, Madison, and also Minnesota, and it was the dead of winter. Was on winter break.
I was going to say, do you not like warm weather, James? Or?
Man, that was rough. I was thinking to myself, like, they have tunnels in Minnesota? I'm like, it gets so cold here. You have tunnels you have to walk through. So, yeah, Illinois wasn't too bad, honestly, in my opinion. Champaign, Urbana, I liked it.
That Assembly Hall, which is now State Farm Center, correct?
Yep.
I got to do one game in there in my days with IUPUI of doing the radio. We actually played them before finals. It was the one time that we did this. We basically turned down having a hotel room and drove the team straight to the game because we knew we were getting a paycheck, a butt whooping, and going home. George Hill had broken his foot about 3 weeks before this game, so we're like,
man.
We ain't winning tonight. Let's get our paycheck and let's go home. I remember driving up to that building and thinking it looked like a flying saucer had landed in a cornfield.
Boy.
And that is how I would describe the other Assembly Hall.
Well, I'll tell you what, we'll have Matt Taylor join us here in a couple of minutes, give us some of his Taylor's tidbits here on this Friday. But as far as one of the tidbits I'm interested in when it comes to this team is, as we talked about the quarterback, talked about the defense, is there a way, Rake, for this team to unlock Jonathan Taylor? Because although he scored a touchdown, that was, I believe, his 5th straight game. And yeah, coincides with every loss.
Sure.
Of not reaching 100 yards. And that one might have been the toughest to look at. As much as we talk about the passing game looking a little better with Phillip Rivers, it is stagnant to a degree with JT. And I wonder if some of that has to do with having a more immobile quarterback.
It is twofold. A mobile quarterback, yes. But obviously now you have a defense that is more geared up to stop you. And then again, let's acknowledge that on Monday night, it was Jalen Travis, Quentin Nelson. Pretty soon it was Danny Pinner. Then it was Dalton Tucker. And then it was Matt Gonzalez. And so you have had to rotate through. And then you lose Drew Ogletree during the course of that game due to a neck injury as well. A lot of the pieces in front of him have changed. And so there's not that many holes to find the ones that he was getting earlier in the season.
Well, one guy who has not changed and is still willing to join us here on Friday mornings is the great Matt Taylor. Matt, how you doing, brother?
I'm good. Good morning, guys. Merry Christmas to you.
How was Christmas in the Taylor household? What did Santa bring the kids?
The kids, man, they made out like bandits. I tell you what, yeah, between the grandparents and Santa Claus, they're coming out on top. So got a lot of a lot of toys, some games, some board games, some video game stuff. God, there's so much they kind of lost count after a while, kind of blurred out there for a little bit. But it was a very good day. Santa was good to everybody. So. Yeah, they're in great shape. Hope Santa delivers some good stuff to the Rakestraw clan, and same thing with James. Hope you guys are doing well today. Day later.
So did Santa stick around and clean up all the wrapping paper and tissue everywhere, or was that more of your variety?
No, Santa bails, man. Santa knows the deal. I mean, Santa's like the Irish goodbye. He just drops off and gets the hell out of Dodge and just but. That's the thing that Santa does. He gives you guys plenty of, trash bags and, plenty of garbage bins to clean up the aftermath. But, no, I mean, it's a spectacular day. I mean, if that's the least we can do for all that Santa does for us, sign me up every year.
Because you were such a sports crazed kid, as was I. I'm sure James was the same way.
Yep.
But those of us that go the announcer route, we're doing play by play in our head and frankly out loud, like we're out in the pickup, playing basketball in the driveway. What was the best sports related gift you got when you were a kid, Matt?
Well, there's a couple of them. Just in terms of being an athlete, I've got, I got a ton of footballs, ton of basketballs. But I got a Peyton Manning jersey growing up. I got an Edgerrin James jersey growing up, Reggie Miller. I was really into Jeff Foster because that was kind of like the player I was on the basketball floor. So I had a Jeff Foster jersey, in those glory days of the Pacers. But as a broadcaster, I say this all the time, like, I half joke about this, but it's half truth as well. I mean, I was that 10-year-old kid that used to do games in my basement, right? I mean, it didn't matter. I turned on hockey games or baseball games or football games, and I would do play-by-play in my head. I would bring in a transistor radio on a Monday night to finish up listening to Monday Night Football with Marv Albert and Boomer Esiason. Like that, I was that kid. So my parents got me a Talk Boy. Remember the Talk Boy? Like the Home Alone 2 Talk Boy?
I do remember this.
I remember the Game Boy. I don't remember the Talk Boy. Sorry.
Yeah, it's like Home Alone 2. Kevin McAllister had the Talk Boy, right? Like the little recording device that he used to scheme the hotel and to get in free rooms and all that stuff. I had a Talk Boy with the cassette, and I would do games in my basement on the Talk Boy. Yeah, people should Google Talk Boy after we're done talking, because that was my first broadcast outlet to doing play-by-play, and that's what really sort of allowed me to catch the bug. Yeah, Talk Boy, back in 1997, Greg, big deal, dude.
Boy, Mate, I only know what a Talk Boy is because of that movie. So,
by the way, I just realized, by the way, that I was the person running the board and pushing the buttons as Matt was listening to games, and I'll go ahead and say the frequency on 1260 WNDE 100%. Back then. Boy. So as he was cashing out as like a fourth grader, I was actually being paid $6 an hour to make sure the commercials played 2 breaks a quarter, courtesy of Westwood One. Yeah. It's touching, and I feel old at the exact same time. Yes.
Yeah, the crackle of AM radio.
And Matt lived on the south side, as far away from the signal as you could possibly get to.
Well, it still came in. I guess it was still audible. I still, figured out the Buccaneers scored a touchdown in the red zone. Right? I mean, it was perfect. I mean, Marv Albert still reading those reads. I remember like it's yesterday. I mean, this brought to you by Barbasol. Close Shave America. Close Shave Barbasol. Back to you, Boomer Esiason. Right? I mean, that's what got me hooked. I still remember it like it's yesterday.
Talk Boy indeed.
There you go. So, well, we don't want to keep you on the phone too long without getting to the real juicy stuff. So let's get to Taylor's tidbits.
Let's dive into the nitty-gritty.
I never knew that.
Grab a seat and take notes.
As if.
There's storylines all over the upcoming game.
You serious, Clark? Say what?
It's time for Taylor's Tidbits.
All right, let's talk about the matchup. Sunday, Lucas Oil Stadium, 1 o'clock. You got the 8-7 Colts, 11-4 Jaguars, and the Jags are a very complete team. They've won 6 games in a row. They've outscored their opponents by 113 points in that span. That's an average of over 18 points per game, fellas. And comparatively, the nearest AFC team, the Texans, they have a point margin of only 43 since week 11. So that gives you perspective on how dominant the Jaguars have been. And they've got a legitimate resume. There's not a whole lot of flukiness to what they've done this year. They've got 6 wins on the season against opponents that currently hold a winning record. That's tied with the LA Rams for the most in the NFL. The Jaguars are currently 5-3 against teams that are currently inside the playoff picture this year, and they are plus 10 in a turnover margin in those games. That's the best in the NFL. All right, so let's talk about their offense. It's rolling. They're on a 6-game heater. The Jags lead the NFL in offensive points scored per game at almost 34 points per game in that span. And this coincides with the Colts defense really reeling a little bit, all right? They have lost 5 games in a row, and in that stretch, they ranked 31st in passing defense, 31st in yards allowed, and 28th in points allowed. And the big plays, right, if you boil it all down to like the one thing that's really killing the Colts consistently, it's the big plays on through the air, I should say. A team's really racking up big chunk yardage through the air against the Colts. On Monday Night Football, the Colts allowed the 49ers to post 11 plays that covered at least 15 yards. And in the last 5 games during this losing skid for the Colts, they've allowed 38 completions over 15. So, we talk about the hard truth in terms of where the Colts are at right now. The Colts defense is sort of, unfortunately, right back where it was to end last year, towards the bottom of the league in overall defense. All right, Trevor Lawrence, he is on fire. He has produced 225-plus passing yards, 2+ passing touchdowns, a 100-plus passer rating, and 0 turnovers in each of his last 4 games. That is the longest streak in Jaguars franchise history. It's also tied for the longest streak in the NFL this year. In his last 4 games, 14 touchdowns, the most in the NFL in that span. He's got 33 touchdowns on the year. That's third most in the NFL. And he also aims for at least 2 passing touchdowns in his 5th straight game against the Indianapolis Colts. And then on the other side of the ball, the Jaguars on defense, since week 11, they lead the NFL in scoring, only 15 points per game. They're number 1 in the NFL in rushing defense, 87 yards allowed on the ground per game, and they've given up 20 points or fewer in 4 straight games. That is the longest Jaguars streak since 2018. And what the Colts have to do is get some sort of semblance in the ground game going with Jonathan Taylor. Taylor, by the way, the only player the Jaguars have allowed to rush for 70-plus yards in a game this year. And during this 5-game losing skid for the Colts, they rank 30th in rushing yards, 30th in yards per game on the ground at just 81, 31st in yards per carry at 3.5, and they only have 8 runs over 10 yards in that span. That's the second fewest in the NFL. And here's a little bit of a bonus tidbit that I'll wrap up with. You know, we talk all the time, right? When the Colts and Jaguars get together, what do we always talk about, especially down there in North Florida? We always talk about the streak, right? Colts haven't won in Jacksonville, in Duval, at Everbank Stadium since the 2014 season. Well, the home team in this series has been absolutely dominant. Doesn't matter if you're playing at Lucas Oil Stadium or at in Jacksonville down in North Florida. The home team is 19-2 in the last 21 games in this series. The Colts have won 6 of the last 7 games against Jacksonville at Lucas Oil Stadium and 10 of their last 12 in Indianapolis. Hopefully that's a good omen for this game, with the Colts being the home team, needing to get a win, needing to stay alive in the playoffs, and we'll see if the Colts get some help on Saturday tomorrow with the Texans losing to the Chargers.
It's a lot of tidbits. You do a lot of work for this segment, Matt. I appreciate that.
Listen, you're either getting better or you're getting worse, Greg, all right? That's the deal, baby.
What has been the favorite part of telling the Phillip Rivers story for you the last couple of weeks?
For me, it's just seeing him and getting to know him a little bit better and actually getting to talk to him in person, Gray. I mean, the last time he was here was in 2020 during the COVID restrictions, and everything was virtual on Zoom or teleconferences and stuff like that. And we made it a point on the broadcast on Monday. I mean, last week, against the 49ers, that was his first chance to put on a Colts uniform and play in front of a packed house. During COVID, the most fans he ever played in front of at Lucas Oil Stadium was 14,000. Of course, they were all kind of spread out all over the stadium because of COVID restrictions. But, I mean, it's remarkable how well he played. I mean, to me, it's just, I mean, you shouldn't be able to do what he is doing at age 44. And I get it, right? It's only a 2-game sample size, but I mean, to throw for, almost 300 yards and 2 touchdowns in front of the whole world watching you when you haven't played, in 4.5 years, it's just remarkable. So, I mean, credit to what the human mind can do and what it's capable of, right? I mean, if you stay engaged and you study and you know your stuff and you're on top of your P's and Q's from a mental side of things, you can be really successful regardless of what your physical limitations and what your body tells you. So, I mean, Phillip Rivers, I mean, not to sound too profound, but I mean, he's an inspiration, and he's really given this team a big juice and a lot of jolt late in the season trying to make the playoffs.
Last one I got for you, Mayte. Are you someone who is like the players? Will you be watching every second of tomorrow's game between the Chargers and the Texans?
Absolutely. Absolutely. I mean, this is what the NFL wants. I mean, parity is absolutely king. Roger Goodell he's just foaming at the mouth right now because so many teams are still alive and have a chance this late in the season, and that's what he wants. He wants fans engaged as long as possible throughout the course of the NFL season. And, we talked about it again last week. I mean, what's the number? I mean, since 1990, at least 4 teams make the playoffs every year that didn't the year before. I mean, every year you see a team go from worst to first, as is the case potentially, depending on what happens these last 2 games with the Jacksonville Jaguars. So, yeah, meaningful football in late December, early January is what everybody wants to watch and consume and be a part of. And hopefully the Colts get some help. I mean, last month and a half, really, since that Berlin game and the bye. It's like everything the Colts need to go right outside of their control has gone wrong. The Jaguars keep winning. The Texans keep winning. They don't get any help from anybody else when it comes to their strength of schedule and AFC record and all of that stuff. So maybe tomorrow is the day where they finally get a little bit of a break and some help. But, unfortunately, you've stubbed your toe so much that now you're relying on all of that. But, if you don't take care of your own business this week on Sunday, let's say the Texans win, if the Chargers beat the Texans, I should say, tomorrow, none of it matters if the Colts don't start helping themselves, which they haven't done, obviously, in the last 5 weeks.
Well, Mayte, we appreciate the time, brother. I will see you over at the facility later today. And, again, happy belated Merry Christmas.
You guys, too. Always good to be with you. Greg, always good to hear your voice. We'll see you soon, and appreciate all that you guys do.
I will see you on Sunday, and I look forward to the ballet that Matt and I do. We have 3.5 minutes to switch chairs.
Oh, is that
after
serious?
he does his first segment of the postgame show.
I didn't know that.
And so normally I have a laptop with all the emails, because people don't know this. Matt coordinates everything for the radio network. So like all the scripts that I have, like he was referencing the wonderful folks at Barbasol, who are also the presenters of the Horizon League men's and women's basketball championships, by the way. So finally crafted commercial messages like this. I have a script from Matt of the ones that I get through during my 3-hour tour of the postgame show. So I've got that laptop open, as then Matt then has to unplug about 19 different gizmos before then he exits to go check out their post-game interviews and stuff like that. So we get to see each other during practice or have email chats, but there's always 3.5 minutes. We're about 3 feet apart from each other as we're trying to extract one and input, almost like a sports car team changing drivers in the middle of a race, kind of what we do in the Colts,
you guys are
Colts booth. We're athletes, and it was really Matt and not me. Were is the key thing there.
Yeah, I mean, it's like a fire drill, but we've gotten pretty good at it. It's like poetry in motion. I'm spinning away from contact from you. You're sliding in the little crease there, and I'm ripping stuff off the wall, trying to get out of your guys' way. And it's a beautiful dance that we do, but I think we have it down to perfection. And I appreciate all that you guys do. I mean, the post-game show is just absolutely humming, and hopefully the Colts give you guys some good content to talk about for 2.5 hours coming up on Sunday afternoon.
Yeah, I was pretty spoiled for 2 months. It'd be nice to go back to that again, Matt. I'm not going to lie.
Boy.
See you, buddy.
All right. I'll talk to you guys soon.
I was going to say, everything I wrote for 2 months was the greatest Colts article ever.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden now when I write something, it's garbage. James, what are you doing? You need to change this franchise. You don't ask hard enough questions.
I've got a tidbit for you.
Okay.
Who is the leading, just total points, leading scoring offense in the AFC?
Total points.
Total
in the
points.
AFC?
AFC, yep.
It better not be the Jaguars. It can't be the Jaguars.
It's not the Jaguars. The Jaguars are currently tied for third.
Ooh, okay. Caleb, you want to weigh in?
I bet you it's still the Colts.
It is not the Colts, but Caleb knows the direction I'm going with this conversation.
Boy, I'm trying to think.
Would you like me to give you the number one answer?
Feel free, yeah.
The Buffalo Bills. So who would be second?
It can't be the Colts. It's still the Colts?
The Indianapolis Colts.
Wow.
419 points.
Wow.
The Colts have scored more points than the Jacksonville Jaguars and the Houston Texans. And then the Texans went on defense. Texans have scored 346 points. The Texans are a race to 20. They're going to beat you 23-20 every time they play them.
Yeah, wow. Boy.
Yeah, Colts are the second highest scoring offense in the AFC and more than likely miss the playoffs. Now, misery loves company in the NFC because currently the two highest scoring offenses, or two of the three highest scoring offenses in the NFC, have already been eliminated from the playoffs. The Cowboys are third. The Lions are the highest scoring team in the National Football League and will not make the playoffs.
So I guess if you're looking for a silver lining there, it could be worse for the Colts. It could be worse, Caleb.
No, what this tells you is that, the league is a pendulum in terms of how we go back and forth. It's a passing league. It's a high-scoring league. The teams that are playing defense, the ones that are winning.
Boy.
So just something to marinate on, think about.
Well, I'll think about that throughout this check down. Caleb, let's run it down.
The Morning Checkdown on 93.5 and 107.5 The Fan.
Let's start where we finished with the Colts. The injury report came out yesterday, Rake. It wasn't an official practice, but anything that stood out to you on that note?
So the two things, Sauce Gardner was listed as a limited participant. Now, again, when the team had a walkthrough, not a practice, he was listed as DNP. When the team did nothing and did not report, he was listed as a limited participant. But it is still in a step in a right direction after having a calf injury. Now, the other notable would be Bernhard Raimann, who obviously has missed time due to an elbow injury. He was listed as limited in a walkthrough on Wednesday. When he wasn't even on 56th Street, he was listed as a full participant in practice yesterday. But frankly, what matters is what JB will see with his own eyes once he leaves the studio here, because the Colts will have an actual practice, and James will see about 15 minutes of it. And in that 15 minutes, he'll be able to determine exactly who was able to participate in said practice, which means what their status just might be for Sunday afternoon. And again, folks, I will point out, a player could be cleared to go today, and if the game tomorrow doesn't go the way they want it to, that player could be sat out just for the rest of the season. Hey, there's no reason to push the issue, as I would believe would be the case with guys like Raimann and Gardner both.
There you go. And then as far as the other Christmas Day games from yesterday, the Cowboys knock off the Commanders, the Vikings knock off the Lions and eliminate Detroit from playoff contention, and the Broncos beat the Chiefs in what could be Travis Kelce's last game at Arrowhead.
And, of course, that's only the second biggest news of the week for the Chiefs. Their new stadium package going to Kansas.
Missouri to Kansas.
Correct. So they are Kansas City, of all the places I go to, I think I have a pretty good sense of geography and direction. I get turned around in downtown KC because it's so hilly and because the airport is so far away from Kansas City. But, yes, the stadium is actually in the Missouri half where the city proper is. But if you look like what I would think is north, the bluffs are actually west where Kansas is. They're going to move out by, I would assume, where the soccer facility and the racetrack are, which is in the western suburbs, which is Kansas. And the state of Kansas apparently is going to finance this to the tune of $1.8 billion to have a retractable roof / indoor stadium for the Kansas City Chiefs that is supposed to be operational by 2031.
So that means the Gary Berries will be moving to Northwest Indiana.
Bear down,
in
East
about,
Chicago Bears.
2032, okay?
On the toll road to victory.
So that is pretty newsworthy. We'll see how real the Bears thing is. But
every long pass that Caleb Williams now completes has been known as the Skyway going forward.
There you go. And then on the NBA side of things, last night we had some great action. I'll start with the best game of the day, the Nuggets and the Timberwolves. They go to overtime, and Nikola Jokic gets the last over Anthony Edwards. Nikola Jokic finishes with 56 points, 16 rebounds, 15 assists, and just, you run out of words for that guy. Incredible player. Probably one of the best players ever, not just of this era, when it's all said and done.
Again, I did the math earlier, 56 points and 15 assists. And again, I don't know whether they were assists on twos or assists on threes. Somebody that was there as an actual beat writer could tell you, or go back at a box score and look. But at minimum, he contributed to 86 of their 142 points in a win. For a guy that, and I mean this as a compliment, seemingly does not care. And obviously he tries, given how he plays, but is very much looking forward to not playing basketball and hanging with his buddies back in Eastern Europe as soon as this whole thing is done. So for a guy that doesn't give a darn, it's a hell of a player.
Oh, absolutely. And so we had the Rockets blow out the Lakers. They looked old, and LeBron James, he looked old as well. The Warriors beat the Mavericks. The Spurs knocked off the Thunder. That was notable because the Thunder are still the number 1 seed in the West, but the Spurs are the number 2 seed, and they've had their number. They've won 3 straight against them. And then the first game of the day was the Knicks beating the Cavaliers. My father was pretty happy. He's a big Knicks guy.
If LeBron looks like he is aging, that is correct, because his next birthday is on Tuesday. So he turns another year
41.
older on Tuesday.
I'll tell you what, it's getting late early for those Lakers, but at the same time, I don't think any Pacers fans here feel any sympathy towards that franchise. They denied them the championship 25 years ago.
Do you want to know how I know that his birthday is on Tuesday? I share a birthday with LeBron James.
Oh, well, no, he shares one with you.
Well,
And Tiger Woods, Greg.
Oh, correct. And to that point, I think I was born on the greatest athletic birthday of all time. The rundown of athletes born on that day would be LeBron James, Tiger Woods, and Sandy Koufax.
Oh, boy, yeah.
We're all born on December the 30th.
That might be it.
No matter what I do in life, I will not be able to surpass those people born on December the 30th.
I was going to say, I will put you in that conversation. You're on the Hall of Fame board. You're Hall of Fame adjacent.
I am maybe in the A.J. Pierzynski, Eliza Dushku category, also born on December the 30th. And because of his infractions, maybe I have surpassed Matt Lauer, as both he and Meredith Vieira, also a part of the December 30th
crazy.
club.
Oh, that's a hell of a birthday right there.
Yeah.
Well,
since Matt has gone by the wayside and Meredith is doing crappy game shows at this point, I might be the top broadcaster born on December the 30th. Currently, not historically. Maybe I'm at least inching into that conversation.
There you go. Well, Rake, I'll put you there. And for those
I
of you
wouldn't, by the way, but thank you. God bless
I'll put you there. We'll take a quick break here. Thank you all for listening. Day after Christmas, we know it is family time, but we appreciate you being a part of our family as well.
No matter where you're headed, it's nice to know Hubler's got you covered for 200,000 miles. Visit drivehubler.com or any of the 13 Hubler locations.
Stop just hoping the right applicants find your job. Sponsor it on Indeed and match with quality talent. Start at Indeed.com/credit. Again, that's Indeed.com/credit.
Hey everyone, it's Jake from Payless Liquors. Charlie said sell it, so stop by one of our 26 family-owned locations and stock up with these great deals. Woodford Fist for $29.99. Maker's Mark 101 Fist for $26.99. Mick Ultra 18 packs for $23.99. And Jack Daniel's Fist for $19.99. Get Bud Light 16-ounce 12 packs for $13.99. Kim Crawford Sauv Blanc for $13.99. Corbel Brut for just $11.99. And Martini and Rossi Asti for $10.99. Why pay more when you can pay less here at Payless Liquors?
Continue the excitement of the holidays and unwrap a night of family fun with the blue and gold.
Pacers running with Shepard into the lane, up and under with the left hand, no, but trailing the play, crashing down the middle of the lane and laying it in is Isaiah Jackson.
Friday night, enjoy a great evening of basketball when the Pacers collide with the Celtics.
Neymar drives to his right, gets to the wing, bounce pass off the pick and roll, where Siakam picks it up and drives in for two.
Get your tickets at Pacers.com/tickets. Pacers Celtics, Friday at 7.
This Christmas, get a bonus AI Essentials course when you enroll in any My Computer Career IT program by the end of the year. That's a $3,900 value. Attend classes online or on campus. Enjoy lifetime job placement support and IT certifications in high demand. Go to mycomputercareer.edu today and take the free career evaluation. That's mycomputercareer.edu, an elite CompTIA certification partner. Conditions apply to AI offer and financial aid is available to those who qualify, including the GI Bill.
Food insecurity is an urgent problem, one that impacts real Hoosiers. You can help today. Gleaners needs donations. Your contribution goes further with Gleaners. For every $10 you give, Gleaners leverages their resources to turn your $10 into $90 worth of groceries for families who desperately need help right now. Your gift benefits local community members, and every dollar counts. Gleaners also needs volunteers now to help with warehouse distribution. Go to gleaners.org and donate or get involved today.
Harry Douglas here, and the holidays are rolling in, and if men in your life are struggling with their holiday wish list, tell them to add Manscaped to make gift giving easy and completely stress-free this year. From the beard hedger to the lawnmower trimmer, Manscaped's precision tools keep you looking sharp, feeling confident, and ready for every event and celebration. Right now at Target, get 20% off on the Handyman Shaver, Beard Hedger, and the Chairman Plus Essentials Kit, a must-have for a smooth face shave. Hurry up, though. Offer ends December 27th.
Wesley Financial Group is not a law firm, and Chuck McDowell definitely not an attorney. This is Chuck. If someone talked you into buying something really silly and you want to get out of that silly little thing, my advice, get the facts. Call me and I'll send you our Timeshare Exit Kit absolutely free. Inside, you'll learn how timeshare works and all your options for cancellation.
Call Wesley now for your free exit info kit. 800-785-1155. That's 800-785-1155.
You're listening to the Fan Morning Show on Sports Radio 93.5 and 107.5 The Fan.
And the head bobbing continues thanks to the great Caleb Zuber on the 1s and 2s. He's back there like he's club DJ right there.
You know how I found out this song, Greg? It's not because I was born in the 90s, but it was on the Last Dance documentary.
Yep.
Michael Jordan. They had a great soundtrack.
Oh, my
for that,
goodness.
And it was pretty good.
And I can tell you as somebody that lived that. So MJ, like his first title was my freshman year of high school. I'm not sure you're ever as big of a sports fan as you are like in middle school and high school because like life doesn't get in the way. So your life revolves around watching all of these things. But then that didn't span like my first professional job where I did this full time. Like I'm actually, by the time we get to 98, and this will resonate with you, JB, I was on the evening sports show on WGN as like the Indianapolis representative.
Boy.
Like doing an interview talking about, vividly remember telling them between game 5 and 6, I'm like, listen, I understand you guys are who you are. You're not winning game 6 at Market Square Arena. I said, I can see you guys winning game 7 at the United Center. And I realize everything that you've seen for the last 7 or 8 years tells you guys are going to come here and win game 6. I'm like, no, you're not. Said, I think the Bulls will probably win it in 7, which is exactly how it played out. But that was like one of the first times that I did that as like let's go to get the Indianapolis Sports Talk radio perspective. Here's Greg Rakestraw. They didn't know I was just a producer, whatever. I was just random voice from Indianapolis. And so I remember that. And yes, of all the great things about the Last Dance documentary, they not only hit the right music, they hit the music to like the year in which they were showing the games.
Oh, I didn't realize. That's a nice touch.
Yeah, it was really good. Yeah, it's fantastic.
Boy, well, Caleb, when you work on the Last Dance documentary for your boy, we'll make it happen.
We'll talk about.
When you get a couple of those clips of me shooting those bricks against JMV and missing layups, I don't know if that make it into a documentary, but we'll make our own bootleg version. How about that?
I need to come out there sometime and hoop with y'all, man.
Yeah,
I've been telling you that. Like, once this Colts season's over because they're not making the playoffs.
I got to get JMV to see if we can open up the club. They're selective of the group. But I will say this. Speaking of selective, that is what the NFL playoffs is, and what the Colts have to kind of measure and weigh this weekend. And it's crazy to think that. And I want to say it was a listener last week reached out, Rake, and said, there's a chance that Indiana football will win a game in Lucas Oil Stadium more recently than the Colts.
Yes, very much so.
And when I say that statement out loud to you, how crazy does that sound that we're a week away from IU trying to continue a national championship run, whereas in a couple of days, we're trying to see if the once 8-2 Colts can backdoor their way into the postseason.
2 months ago it was these 3 things could happen within 3 months or 4 months of each other. Indiana plays in the Big Ten championship game. The AFC championship game takes place. And then Purdue plays in the Final Four at Lucas Oil. All of those things no longer possible for the Colts, because if the Colts make the playoffs, they would be the number 7 seed. So we can wave bye-bye to that both mathematically and obviously realistically at this point in time. One is already in the past tense. And, for Indiana football, we that do this from a sports talk standpoint, we tend to be, what's the next thing in the here and now? And so obviously when it comes to the National Football League, it is every 6 days. It is every 7 days. For the Pacers, it's every 2 or 3 days. Obviously, a little less emphasis on that, kind of given how the season has gone to this point and knowing that the solution isn't going to rejoin the team by the end of this season. And so it's more big picture now for the Pacers than dwelling on what happens on a night-in, night-out basis. In other words, what James is trying to do is say we should probably mention the Indiana football team at some point in time on the show today because, yes, they are playing in a national quarterfinal 6 days from now. And as James is learning, plug, tease as best you can. Game you can hear right here on 93.5 and 107.5 The Fan.
There you go.
With Don Fisher, Buck Soar, John Herrick, etc., live from the Rose Bowl in Pasadena.
So I want to go there just for a second, Rake, as you laid out. Don Fisher, he's a legend.
Yes.
How happy are you for him?
God, he's seen a lot of bad football.
This opportunity.
Yeah.
I mean, you don't want to make it about yourself as the broadcaster, as the play-by-play guy, but we know he's IU through and through.
At Fish in his own mind had to have, at some point in time, and probably happened during the course of the 80s when the Hoosiers were actually good, and their success in the mid-late 80s also coincided with a bit of a downturn for Ohio State and Michigan. So you're thinking, all right, Hoosiers are better than both Iowa State and Michigan. My God, we're going to the Rose Bowl. And Michigan State beats them. And Michigan State ends up being the team that goes through. I think this was the 87 season. And you got to be thinking after, you still make bowl games, and then you kind of slide back towards oblivion. From the mid-90s on, you go, as a broadcaster, I don't think I'm ever getting the chance to do a Rose Bowl. Now, that's counterbalanced by the fact that Fish has done 3 national championship games in men's basketball that have won and got to do a 4th in 2002.
Kind of
so life's pretty good when that is the case. But my guess would be until maybe at some point last year, you had kind of given up hope on, well, I guess of all the career boxes I get to check, broadcasting a Rose Bowl is not one of them. Because frankly, that was always, I wouldn't say the attainable goal, but that was kind of the first goal as a voice of a Big Ten team or a fan of a Big Ten team. At some point, I want to see my team play in the Rose Bowl. And the Rose Bowl doesn't mean now what it meant then, but it's very fitting that IU's first step in this journey of the college football playoff is in Pasadena and is at the Rose Bowl. So you can kind of check that box off that, yep, first time in 68 years, here's Indiana playing in the Rose Bowl.
That's crazy. And just to think of where they rose from, you all know the story, you know the history.
58 years, not 68. Sorry about that. 58.
It's all good. I'm not a mathematician. I wouldn't, carry the one on that one.
I have that annoying habit of liking to be right. Sorry about that.
No, that's actually a good habit to have here on the radio. But I am honestly, and this is a guy, Indiana transplant, went to Illinois. My school got blown out by IU, as you all reminded me.
But your team has made the Rose Bowl a couple of times.
Exactly. But to see them rise up, I mean, how can you not become enamored with this story, especially with the guy who's leading them, Fernando Mendoza? What I like about him, and I get that he might be like the corny, nerdy guy.
We are flipping champs.
Yeah, and he described himself as that, but it does seem genuine. I've been around a lot of athletes, at this point in my career, Rake, and it does not seem like a facade with this dude. It seems like he genuinely is, the dorky dude, but also the dog who gets it done in big moments.
He's Phillip Rivers with legs. He literally
could honestly be related.
He literally took the Heisman Trophy to his Catholic parish back home this week and posed for a picture with all the priests. Again, that's God bless him for doing that literally, but that's not normally the celebration shot you see of the Heisman Trophy.
No, not at all.
He's just a little bit of a different cat, and part of that is, to some degree, being late to having great success. I mean, let's face it, he was in a minute percentage of athletes that are good enough to be Division I quarterbacks. But much like so much of this Indiana roster, he's not a 5-star kid.
No.
He was a 2 or 3-star kid that just happened to kind of blow up and comes here, and it becomes even more so on top of that. Again, folks, if you go back, and I forget the name, but there was an Indiana University football player who was drafted number 1 in the draft in the 30s as a lineman. When the draft was, Mel Kiper was just early in his days of breaking down draft film, back then. I'm kidding about that. But you have to go, but Mendoza's going to be the number 1 pick in the draft as well. And right now that is very much secondary to what the results are going to be, hopefully on Thursday.
I have the name, by the way.
Fire away.
Corbett Davis, 1938.
Had it on the tip of my tongue. So thank you for getting that for me from 87 years ago. But he's the Heisman Trophy winner, and he plays at IU. He's going to be the number 1 pick in the draft, and he plays at IU. And he, and obviously so many others, Kurt Signetti, staff, players, etc., they're going to play in the Rose Bowl against Alabama, and Indiana's the favorite.
That is also the crazy part.
Just think about that for a second.
Yeah, being the favorite is crazy.
That I just said that is a factual statement. That is not some sort of wild dream. That Indiana is the favorite in the Rose Bowl against Alabama. It's crazy to think about. Crazy.
Oh, boy. That is...
I just hope the story keeps going as long as it possibly can.
I was going to say, we need some positivity this year.
Right.
Given the state of the Colts right now, where the Pacers were in Game 7 before the Achilles tear, where the Fever were, a game away from the WNBA Finals without Caitlin Clark. So I feel like IU kind of put the city in like the state on its back right now.
Now, part of me would go, hey, the Pacers were in the NBA Finals and played in Game 7. The Fever have become a thing more so than they ever have in their history, courtesy of Caitlin Clark. Colts, a bit of a different story, but again, we had 2 great months of the Colts. I tend to be much more of a glass is half full type of person, and I think of 2025 as, it'll be kind of a year that might have been, from a sports standpoint,
true.
Still a pretty damn good year to be a sports fan in Indianapolis. All of the things you got to experience. There was a lot of winning that took place in 2025.
That is true. So we'll take a short break here and do it one final time. Thank you all for sticking with us here on the Fan Morning Show.
Hey, Colts fans, Crown Royal is a proud partner of the Indianapolis Colts, and this season it's not game day without the generous spirit of Crown Royal. Whether you're at the tailgate, in the stands, or watching from home, Crown Royal is the reason and the reward for coming together. Grab a glass with the Crown Royal rig at a stadium near you, because we'll be sharing the generous spirit with fans across the country. Crown Royal, fueling game day with a generous spirit. Visit www.crownroyal.com/royal rig for more on the Crown Royal Rig Tour. Please drink responsibly.
If you're one of the millions of Americans behind on your taxes, if you're afraid to open your mail because IRS collection letters could be coming, listen carefully. The IRS is cracking down, taking paychecks, freezing bank accounts, revoking passports. That's a fact. But here's what most people don't know. There are official tax relief programs designed to help struggling taxpayers. Programs that could save you thousands if you qualify. No one knows these programs better than the experts at Optima Tax Relief. Optima's award-winning team will fight to protect your paycheck, your passport, and your property. Their tax attorneys and licensed tax professionals will work tirelessly to get you the best deal possible with the IRS. Every day, penalties and interest keep piling up, so don't wait. Call Optima now for a free consultation.
Call 800-354-2840. 800-354-2840. 800-354-2840.
Optima Tax Relief. Some restrictions apply. For complete details, please visit OptimaTaxRelief.com.
This year, make Christmas cash with Farnsworth Metal Recycling. Raised Demolition and Farnsworth Metal Recycling, family-owned in Indy for 3 generations, are names you know and trust. Bring in your scrap aluminum, steel, copper, or brass and turn it into holiday spending money. Whether you're decking the halls, buying gifts, or just want a little extra jingle in your pocket, cash is king at Farnsworth.
Farnsworth Metal Recycling, a familiar face in Indy.
Lose weight or stop smoking with hypnosis, guaranteed or your money back. Only $59.99. Destroy unwanted cravings, late night eating binges, boredom eating, stress eating. Also destroy your desire to smoke without cravings, irritability, or weight gain, or your money back. Hypnosis January 29th at the Holiday Inn Express and Suites in Noblesville. Weight loss at 5:30 p.m., stop smoking at 8. And January 31st at the Holiday Inn Indianapolis Airport. Weight loss 11 a.m., stop smoking at 2. Register at markpatrickseminars.com.
Hi, I'm Becca, your friend and jeweler at Shane Company. As an in-house designer, I can't wait for you to see our incredible selection of stylish and stackable rings. If you're shopping for your wedding bands, we have high-quality designs for every style and budget, from romantic to modern. If you're looking to add to a stack, your options are endless. Discover styles with clusters of gemstones, sleek all-metal designs, updated cigar bands, and signet rings perfect for an engraving. Because a friend knows you like options. Shane Company, your friend and jeweler.
JMV here, and guys, you've heard of TRT, but you have no idea what testosterone can do for you. Once you start treatment, you'll wish you had done it sooner. Now you can take the TRT test for free at Center Gen X and Low T Center. Walk in before 10 a.m. or book ahead at FixMyLowT.com. The place for guys to go is Center Gen X and Low T Center for TRT. The TRT test is free, not hundreds of dollars. The testosterone is pure, not compounded. Guys feel full of energy, not like they're still waiting for it to kick in. Get in now for your free TRT test. No appointment necessary before 10 a.m. or book ahead at FixMyLowT.com. Guys, you're going to wish you had started TRT sooner. Don't you just want to know your level? Find out with the free TRT test at Center Gen X and Low T Center. Walk in before 10 a.m. or book ahead at FixMyLowT.com. That's FixMyLowT.com. Center Gen X and Low T Center. Get that free T test today. FixMyLowT.com.
This college football season, show your school spirit every time you pay. Introducing college-branded Venmo debit cards. Rep your team on and off the field with custom school designs that let everyone know who you root for. Whether you're tailgating, grabbing snacks for the watch party, or celebrating a win, you can unlock 15% cash back at ESPN. 1 free year of Perplexity Pro and more. This college football season, score more with the Venmo debit card. Get yours now in the Venmo app. Learn more at venmo.com/collegecard.
Max cashback varies. Terms apply. The Venmo MasterCard is issued by the Bancorp Bank.
At AT&T, we guarantee our network so you can talk college football with your BFF while taking Buster to the vet.
Hey, yeah, I can't believe he ate the whole thing of chicken wings.
And I can't believe we're staging a comeback. Touchdown!
Yes!
Staying connected matters. That's why in the rare event of a network outage, you'll automatically get a bill credit for a full day's service. For wireless downtime lasting 60 minutes or more caused by a single incident impacting 10 or more towers, must be connected to impacted tower at onset of outage. Restrictions and exclusions apply. See att.com/guarantee for full details.
This is James with Price Point Comfort Heating and Cooling. Out working during the holidays, I always love getting to customers' houses, they're baking, getting the free cookies or the cakes or things you're going to take home with you. Sometimes you're there helping somebody on Christmas Day, and it becomes a benefit. My wife's like, "Oh, you had to work today," and I don't tell her about the case of cookies I got in the truck that I got while I was at Mrs. Jones's house. So we're here if you need us. You're part of our family.
Price Point Comfort Heating and Cooling is your trusted local independent American Standard heating and air conditioning dealer.
You're listening to the Fan Morning Show on Sports Radio 93.5 and 107.5 The Fan.
Just hanging out here on this Friday, getting ready for the weekend. Thank you all for tuning in to the Fan Morning Show. Of course, I'm James Boyd. You hear me pretty regularly, but you also hear this other guy pretty regularly as well.
I shouldn't hang around like a house guest.
Got Greg Rakestraw filling in, baby. We got the other lazy guys sleeping in, and maybe Kevin Bowen's up. I'm joking, by the way. They got kids, so I'm sure they're up by now. But we got Caleb Zuber, myself, Greg Rakestraw, getting this thing done here on this Friday because Mark Dykton is on vacation like he always is.
Right.
Jeff Rickard's out, Kevin Bowen's out, but you got us. We make it work, Rake.
I've been told that. Twitter is blowing up. And by blowing up, I mean one nice gentleman said that we paired well together.
There you go. I'll take that one. I'll ignore all the other ones.
That could be 1,000% of our listening audience this morning.
Well, look,
because the world was a pretty quiet place on the way down Meridian at about 6:20.
Yeah, man, getting up, I was like, boy, I'm used to the hustle and bustle a little bit when I turn the corner and get down here to get to the studio, but not today, which I can understand. It's around that time of year where we got to spend some time with family. So
I have a caffeine addiction, as you well know. So I started my day at the 56th and Illinois Starbucks.
Okay,
and there are various things I'll do early in the morning. And pre-select, pre-orders. My drink is ready when I walk in, and I pull up at about 6:25 or so, and I look to the left, and the lights are on, but there is not a soul that I can see in the restaurant, and that never happens. That place opens like 4:30 or 5 o'clock on most mornings, and I walked in. I go, "Am I the first person in here today?" They go, "No, you're the second." So, yeah,
okay.
The world is waking up at a slower pace on what is a Friday off for nearly everybody else other than you and me and Caleb.
All right. Well, we can't get out of here before we break down our predictions for the Colts game, but also our most exciting game, hardest game to pick, and our easiest game to pick. Caleb, let's lock and load here for the weekend. So I will start with the easiest game to pick. And for me, Caleb, I feel like when it comes to the easiest game, it can't be anything involving the Giants and the Raiders. That seems like it's just a disaster. I'll get to that game in a minute. But as far as spreads go, I don't necessarily love the Green Bay 4.5 over the Ravens just because I feel like that's going to be a tighter game because you don't know who's going to be the quarterback right now for Green Bay. Is it going to be Jordan Love? And even if it is, they've been up and down, so I'll go with that as probably my easiest game because I don't trust that spread.
James, you're not interested in Raiders-Giants, which could determine the number 1 overall pick in the draft and where Fernando Mendoza might be playing football next?
I can't do it.
Okay. For somebody who watched all the NFL games yesterday, I'm surprised that one doesn't intrigue you. I think for the easiest game, now, it's a 3-point spread. Pittsburgh's favored at Cleveland. I feel like it's kind of a tricky one because those AFC North games can be challenging, but I just got to believe that the Steelers will be able to win by more than 3, right?
Yeah.
The answer to your question is the single biggest line of the week.
Ooh,
New England at New York, 13.5. New York just got beat by the Saints, who aren't that great and playing a rookie quarterback. The Saints just housed them 29-6. The Patriots have to keep up with the Broncos, who won last night. New England will pulverize the Jets.
Okay.
And the 13.5.
All right, that's 80 Mitchell's Jets. That's Jeff Ricker and 80 Mitchell's Jets right there. I'll go with the hardest game next on the schedule to pick. I actually was joking about this a few seconds ago, but the Giants-Raiders is a hard game to pick. I mean, the Giants are favored by 1.5, but I have no idea who's going to win that game because both teams are god-awful. But as Caleb alluded to, whoever wins that game will then drop in the Tankathon rankings as far as getting number 1 pick. So if you're a Giants or a Raiders fan, you probably want that team, your team, to lose so they can maintain control of the number 1 pick, and that will be Fernando Mendoza.
It's really fascinating that game's really happening the second to last week of the season. It's unbelievable. Okay, Seattle favored by 7 points at Carolina. You know, that's one of the longest flights, really Seattle, anytime they got to fly to the East Coast. That's interesting one to me. You never know what type of Panthers team you're going to get. I think them being favored by 7 is a lot on the road. It's a 1 o'clock kick. We'll see what happens. I think that's the hardest one for me to kind of figure out.
Chicago at San Francisco. It is a 3-point spread. In other words, they're pick 'em because the Niners, as the home team, are getting the extra points. The Niners coming off a Monday night beatdown here in Indianapolis. But again, short week, having to fly back across the country. And the Bears just have a habit of making things interesting late. They have 6 wins after trailing with 2 minutes or less left to go in the game. So I want to watch it. I want to spend no money on that game. Bears-Niners.
There you go. So most excited game, we'll close it out with that. I do think the game I'm most excited for is obviously the one I probably have to cover, being the Colts and the Jaguars. But for that to really matter, Chargers, Texans, I think both teams are playing great football right now. So from entertainment value, from a stakes value, that's the one I'm picking.
Go Chargers, go.
That's what we'll be saying all weekend. I think for most entertaining, I'm going to go where Greg just went. I think the Niners-Bears game is interesting, and a little good Sunday night football game there. So I'm excited for that one.
Houston and the Chargers. Sorry to be repetitive and redundant.
No, you're right, though.
But for our day job to be relevant on Sunday, we are impacted by what will happen tomorrow afternoon at 4:30. So the obvious choice is Texans and Chargers.
I will say this, though. There's an Eagles-Bills game.
Right.
I'm like, boy, that might be a little nice, too. So
You kind of wonder, though, along with that, the Bears and the Niners, because the NFC playoffs, the seedings aren't set.
Exactly.
But the teams other than the Panthers and Buccaneers are set. And by the way, Tampa Bay is at Miami, who completely rolled over against the Bengals last week. And Seattle's been great. They're going to Carolina. Carolina's been a good story. I think they did beat the Rams, right?
Yeah,
That's
they
kind of their
did.
one quality win. Likely, basically, as long as Carolina doesn't win and Tampa Bay loses, then those two teams play each other next week, and that will be the Sunday night play-your-way-in game between those two teams. That'll be the featured game next Sunday night. So in terms of actual affecting playoff seeding, those are the two games that have the most relevancy. But, James, there is a scenario where we go to Week 18 and we know all 14 playoff teams, which leads me to go, I'm very curious as to what Sunday night game NBC would take if that's the case.
that is a good
There
point.
is a scenario a handful of years ago. They actually passed on a Sunday night football game.
Boy,
because
I
it
tell
did
you,
not have any relevant matchups.
Here's one for the Colts purposes. I'd be curious to know if they're eliminated before Week 18, who's starting at quarterback? Because at that point, you could go into the argument.
It has to be Riley Leonard or Anthony Richardson.
That's a good argument, but
Right.
I'm not so sure. You say it
I
has
know,
to be,
I know.
but I'm not so sure the Colts think that.
There are two different questions, and we're up against it time-wise. What should they do, and what are they going to do?
Yeah.
And those don't necessarily have the same answer.
I tell you what, boy. Well, it gets interesting for us. I definitely think that this is a scenario where there's a lot of more dominoes to fall, but at the same time, we'll be here to talk about it nonetheless. So,
Well, you will be. I won't be. I'll be there after the game.
You'll be here as well,
I'll just
right?
be hanging
Yeah,
around.
we won't kick you out.
Like the janitor or something.
Exactly. So we will tune in with you all Monday. Thanks for listening to us. And as always, enjoy the weekend and be safe, my friends.
The Ride with JMV.
This organization is in a really bad spot. And it's almost like you get that September and October that was so feel good that you go back to it last January and I said, man, it is time to get rid of everybody. And had you done that then, you would be in, I would guess, no, honestly, you would be in a much better situation.
The Ride with JMV.
Weekdays 3 to 6
on 93.5 and 107.5. The Fan.
It's BullseyeEventGroup.com. The Colts VIP tailgate presented by Hayes & Sons Restoration. Your Colts game day experience the best it can be. Log on and get your passes now. BullseyeEventGroup.com.
Heat and cool your man cave, attic, garage, or